All right. So we're getting started here in a minute. Again, we're doing things a little bit differently because we're actually doing it on YouTube again. So haven't done YouTube in a long time. Let's see what happens. Just trying to mess with them a little bit. There we go. Okay, so it is on. There is that. All right, we'll see how this goes. So I'm not going to be able to have the music and the music videos and the entertainment and stuff like that we do for, normal stuff. So we'll get going here. We'll switch cameras over to that. We'll get going. And let's see, we've got about a minute, a little bit more than that. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. But YouTube has not been friendly to us in the past. Obviously, we had to leave YouTube for a while. So we'll see what ends up happening here. I remain very skeptical that this is going to work. But we're going to give it a go. All right, got to pull up the chat app. We'll see how this goes. We'll see. We will see. All right. Make sure you follow on Trovo because this will likely be taken down. It almost always is. So make sure you follow on Trovo, guys. Still my news break. So I'm not going to be able to pull in my bumper music or anything. Well, I mean, I'd like to rebuild YouTube. I'd like to regain control on YouTube because it's pretty clear if I'm going to have an audience for the video streams, it's going to be on YouTube. So good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Wow, what happened to my microphone? Microphone went nuts there just a minute ago. Don't know why that happened. Sorry, everybody. All right. I want to thank R&B Car Company, locations in South Bend and Warsaw. R&B Car Company are your used car experts. We're also covering for Pat Miller on News Talk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM, so we're in both markets today. So we appreciate the Fort Wayne audience for joining us. If you want to watch us online, you can go to trovo.live/Casey the host. I'm doing the YouTube thing today as well. Haven't done a YouTube live stream in a long time because YouTube censors the snot out of my live streams, and it's one of the reasons that we left YouTube for about a year now. So we're going to give it a go and see what happens. So if you want to follow on YouTube or Trovo or even DLive at Casey the host, but Trovo is the one that you definitely need to follow. All right. We have to go through the press conference today with Joe Biden and this gun control stuff. We went over some of the stuff yesterday that he's going to require background checks for ghost guns, for buying ghost guns, which it's illegal for you to buy a ghost gun anyway. So what do you need a background check for? It's absurd, but this is what happens again when you have people who don't know anything about firearms. And they go out there and they do these things that are feel-good gestures that the ignorant masses fall for and they think are great things that are going to, save people's lives and that sort of stuff. And none of it's based in any reality. It's all pure fantasy. So we're going to play several clips. I just want everybody to be fully aware of that. We're going to have several clips that we're going to play for you today. And we're going to see exactly how this all goes because... like I said, we're doing the YouTube thing today, and YouTube really doesn't like it when we play stuff, so we'll see what's going on. All right, so let's just start off. This is the Daily Wire. On Thursday, Biden announced further executive actions on the subject of gun control, saying enough prayers, time for some action, which is essentially an insult to the thoughts and prayers thing. That's what that is all about. During the announcement, Biden delivered a speech riddled with falsehoods, and Daily Wire went through to kind of debunk some of them. I'm going to play you the portion of the speech that Biden said, and then we're going to go through them one by one. We're not going to do the entire thing. We're just going to do bits and pieces of it, some of the, shall we say, the best nuggets. I had several links that I had already sent Joe, and I finally just found one that had several of the clips in it already, so I just deleted all those and sent them to Joe. So we're going to start off, Joe, with this first one. Joe Biden lies, claiming that you can buy a gun at a gun show without a background check. Can you roll that one, please?
These bills, one, require background checks for anyone purchasing a gun at a gun show or an online sale.
Oh, listen to the SEALs clap. Listen to the SEALs clap.
Most people don't know it. You walk into a store and you buy a gun, you have a background check.
Yeah.
But you go to a gun show, you can buy whatever you want and no background check.
Oh.
These bills.
Really? Okay. All right. One of the positive things that happened because of the summer riots was that so many liberals who were typically anti-gun went and bought their first gun. And you saw story after story after story after story of them going, we were lied to by the anti-gun activists. This is not as easy as going and buying a t-shirt at a grocery store, not a grocery store, but at a department store like we were told. This is a whole process. I didn't think I was going to have to fill out all of this paperwork. I want to tell this story just one more time. I've told it many times on the show. For many of you, this will be brand new, particularly those of you in the Fort Wayne audience. I was at a gun store. Most of you know I have a company on the side. I make holsters, I make knives, and I also sell other people's merchandise. And a local, well-established gun store is a distributor for law enforcement and other businesses and things like that. I have an account. I used to go there. I would pick my supplies up, and I would bring them home, obviously, and then we would sell them. So I'm in line, and this lady happens to be a black woman. Now, the only reason that this is relevant is because of how this conversation even happened. Happens to be a black woman. The store clerk happens to be a white man. So she's trying to buy a handgun. She's there, I assume, with her husband, her male companion, whatever it was. They appear to be similar in age, so I assume. And she's trying to buy the gun. Well, it comes back. The background check is basically in limbo. All right, so they need more time. So they've got the extra time. So you get approved, you get disapproved, and then you got this weird little thing where we can't approve you yet, but you can come back in a couple of days, and hopefully we'll have an answer for you. So she's in that limbo space. I don't know exactly what they call it. I apologize. So she's in that limbo space. She's convinced it's the white guy who works at the store who is not selling her the gun. So she starts crying racism on this, and he's trying to explain to her calmly, ma'am, I swear this is federal law. It's on the form, and if it doesn't give you, if it doesn't give us a clear background check right away, we cannot sell you the firearm. Sorry, this is just how it is. And so he goes to get his manager after she requests it. She turns around to me. She looks at me and she goes, "Can you believe this?" And I looked right at her and I said, "Ma'am, elections have consequences." And she goes, "What do you mean?" I was like, "What he's telling you is true. He's not allowed to release that firearm to you until you pass that background check or this, this waiting period is over with if the FBI is not giving him an immediate response." And she goes, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." It's like, this is what Democrats and anti-gun groups are doing. They're making it more difficult for you to be able to get a firearm. And she said something like this, some bull or something like that. And she's like, I had no idea. I was like, yeah, elections have consequences. You've got to pay attention to this stuff. The anti-gun movement in the United States, the gun control advocates in the United States, know less about firearms than my 4-year-old. And I'm not exaggerating that because my 4-year-old actually can shoot pretty decent, at least with the play guns. Not real guns. She's not out there shooting Glocks and stuff yet. That'll be at least another year or two. But she is... This woman was not aware of this, and she had been so programmed to just automatically assume that this was a simple, easy process. Now, you have to understand, this is like 5-6 years ago. This is not even over this last summer. This is a while ago. This is pre-Trump. This is during Obama. And she didn't know. And we saw an awful lot of people throughout the summer who became first-time gun owners, who were previously anti-gun, who were on the political left, who were going to these gun stores thinking that they could just walk through like they were at a grocery store and picking Twinkies off of the shelf. And you can't do that. And I got more news for you. The gun show loophole is a lie. It doesn't exist. It just doesn't. This thing has been debunked so frequently that it's actually insane for people to continue to spread this false narrative. And so usurper Biden is out there talking, most people don't know this, but if you go to a gun store, you got to do a background check. But if you go to a gun show, there's no background check. That's a lie. That's not a mistake. That's not misspeaking. That's a straight up fabricated pile of nonsense. It isn't true in any capacity. Now, here's where people, when they talk about the gun shows, and I'm simply, I know most of you already know this, but I'm simply talking to the people out there who've never bought a firearm, have no idea how this whole process works out, right? They're waving their little signs in the street occasionally when they get bored on the weekday and they don't want to go to work and that sort of thing, and they want to get some social credit score for being woke. You know, when they go out there and they do this sort of stuff, they make fools of themselves, but they're not wise enough to know that they're making fools of themselves. So they just continue to make fools of themselves. When you go to a gun store, you have the background check, which is not an easy, simple process. When you go to a gun show, you have the exact same background check. The exact same one. Now, if you run into some guy named Noah, and Noah's got a little backpack on, and he's got a sign pinned to his backpack saying, I'm selling this, meet me in the parking lot. Okay, there can be an exchange between two individuals outside of the gun show that has nothing to do with the gun show. That can happen anyway. But there's still some restrictions on that already. Are you from the same state? Are you from the same town? Are you legally allowed to own a firearm? There's a whole host of things that go into that. But what they try to do is they try to make it seem like those person-to-person transactions that happen, that is the norm at a gun show. That is not the norm at a gun show. Most gun shows can't even get insurance or a license to put on their event unless all of their vendors who are selling firearms are licensed FFL dealers. Every single licensed FFL dealer is required to conduct a background check. If you are selling firearms as a non-licensed FFL dealer and you're doing it with the purpose to make a profit, okay, even if it's just one gun, like that Noah guy at the gun show, guess what? That's illegal. He can't do it. He's required to have an FFL if he is engaged, this is what the ATF calls, engaged in the business of selling firearms. If you are selling a firearm for profit, even just one, according to the ATF's own definitions, you are engaged in the business of selling firearms and therefore are required to have an FFL license, which means you're required to conduct a background check. So most of those person-to-person interactions that happen, they still fall under some federal requirements anyway. But they don't tell you that because they have to lie to everybody and make it seem like everybody's going to gun shows and they're being able to just go ahead and buy whatever the heck they want. And it's just like going to a pawn shop. Only pawn shops, actually have to do the background check too. People don't realize, as Usurper Joe would just said, people don't realize this, except he got it all backwards. He just straight up lied to everybody. And what happened? The SEALs are out there clapping their hands because they're a bunch of idiots who don't know what they're talking about. Oh, this is so great. This is so fantastic. There's something else that you should know too, and then we'll take our first break because I know I'm bloviating a little bit. We have gone over surveys multiple times from the prison population for people who have been convicted of gun crimes or crimes that have been committed with a firearm, okay? They never get them at gun shows. Ever. Never. You realize I've gone through several inmate surveys on this, and not a single criminal inmate who has been charged and convicted with a gun crime purchased that firearm at a gun show. Not a single one. This is not an issue in the United States at all. Period. End of story. But they're trying to tell you that mass shootings will stop, even though they're not on the rise. Mass shootings will stop if we just stop allowing gun shows to sell guns to people without conducting a background check. It's a myth. It's a lie. It is untrue. There is not a single solitary unicorn fart speck of evidence that suggests it's true. You are the lowest rung of idiot if you espouse what Biden just espoused. More coming up. We'll go through some more sound bites on News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and News Talk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM.
Michiana's news channel is everywhere.
Oh, man. All right. What up? What's up? Yep. So what's my commercial? After Modern Kitchen. You got it. Okay. And because we're doing the syndicated thing, I have to wait for like the right commercial break. So I'm going to be quieter when I have commercials during the commercial break. So I apologize. Why is that? No. Okay. What was that? After this one, then? I can't hear it. His button didn't work. In a commercial break, folks. Hey everybody, baseball is back. There's nothing like watching a game with great weather, a cold drink, preferably an adult beverage, and a little action on FanDuel Sportsbook. If you've never bet on FanDuel or on baseball before, FanDuel makes this extremely easy, and this is the best time to get in on the action. They're letting new users actually swing for the fences completely risk-free. You'll get up to $1,000 back if your first bet does not win. And once you have an account, you can get up to $25 back each day if your same-game parlay bet falls just one leg short. This way, you can actually combine multiple baseball bets for an even bigger win for the entire season. There's a reason that FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. So just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today and sign up with my promo code Casey, that's C-A-S-E-Y, and get in on the action. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code Casey, 21 and over and present in Indiana. First online real money wager only for risk-free bet. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. And if you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. There we go. Yeah, professional sports are not making the FanDuel reads any easier on me, that's for sure. Not making them easy. If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button and you comment, at least hashtag for the horde or something else. Doesn't really matter to me. Just, that's what works with the algorithm. Those likes and those comments are huge. Yeah, everybody's always trying to program my show, man. I got stuff to chat about. Flat Earth Frank. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Also want to thank the Fort Wayne audience for joining us from WoWo. All right. Joe Biden he gave his little speech today and his executive actions and all that stuff, and he lied about background checks at the gun show. I spent more time on that than I was supposed to, but I digress. So just quick little refresher course. Unlicensed private individuals can sell guns without running a background check, but there are some limitations on that, okay? And there are still some things that have to happen. But that doesn't happen at gun shows. That happens in the parking lot outside of the gun show because the gun shows themselves typically don't have insurance and can't have an actual gun show at the facility without having licensed FFL dealers, which are all required to carry a background check, and criminals never get their guns this way. It doesn't happen at all. Biden falsely claimed that his assault weapon and high-capacity magazine ban reduced mass shootings. All right? So, Joe, this is the next one. Biden claims that for the 10 years that we had assault weapon and high-capacity magazine ban, number of mass shootings actually went down. Play that clip for me, please, Joe.
I know this has been a hobby horse of mine for a long time. Got it done once. We should also ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines in this country.
Those are SEALs again.
For that 10 years we had it done, the number of mass shootings actually went down.
No, they didn't.
I know this has been a hobby horse of mine for a long time.
Here's the thing. This is, once again, the lie that the assault weapons ban reduced shootings. It did not. In fact, shootings went down once it sunsetted. They have continued to go down, with the exception of in major metro areas where there was mass rioting. Pretty much everywhere else, the situation has gotten a lot better since. This has been fact-checked to the hilt going all the way back to the 90s. There is zero evidence that the assault weapons ban actually reduced shootings. Zero. Zilch. Plus, we've already been over, okay, long guns themselves, excluding shotguns, long guns themselves, so rifles of any kind, kill just over 300 people a year. You are more likely to be killed with somebody's bare hands. That unarmed suspect they're always telling you is not a threat to anybody. You are more likely, far more likely to be killed by somebody who is unarmed than somebody with a rifle of any kind, including ARs. We got more coming up on 95.3 MNC and 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM.
Hey, it's me.
All right. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. All right, I got to run and grab a drink, guys. I'm going to go ahead and play a commercial from silverfoxart.com, and I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. So right now, weather, then commercial, then Z-Work. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You got it. Mm-hmm. Your spot? Do I trust a place that can't spell your? Your spot, uniting the world. Never heard of it. I'll take a look at it right now. All right, I'll save it for later and take a look at it. Cool. Thank you for the suggestion. I appreciate it. Hey everybody, Casey Hendrickson here for Z-Bart of South Bend. Most of you know that I go to Z-Bart of South Bend for a whole host of reasons, mostly to get my vehicles detailed, but the big services are the ones that we really go to Z-Bart for. Ceramic Z-Gloss paint coating, I cannot tell you how amazing this service is for your vehicle. You can go to an auto parts store, you could buy a little tiny spray bottle, and you could spritz it down like you're scared of your car or something like that. You could wipe it with a cloth and think that you have ceramic protection for your vehicle, but you don't. Ceramic Z-Gloss paint coating is a full paint process. It lasts 7 years. You have a 7-year warranty where that is going to protect your paint from the elements, from the UV damage. It's going to resist scratches and dents and impacts a lot better than your standard clear coat will. And your vehicle is going to shine better than it did brand new off of the factory floor. It is by far and away my favorite service at Z-Bart of South Bend. Go to Z-Bart of South Bend, let them know that I sent you, and ask them about ceramic Z-Gloss paint coating if you care about your vehicle. Well, we'll see. So, Rumble, Rumble is right now probably the biggest YouTube alternative. But they're only going to allow some people to do the live streaming. And so it'll be interesting to see what they do with the live streaming thing. I'll take a look at them. If they have a widget I can put on my website, I'm good. Like that right there, that'll sell me. I appreciate that. Thank you, Kay. Like I said, I'm just trying this today. I don't know that I'm going to come back to YouTube regularly. Because did Rumble okay, they might have censored them for because it was competing interests or something. I'm not saying that that's right, but that's probably what ended up happening. But and I'm not the biggest fan of Rumble or anything, but so what I will do is I'll upload my videos to Rumble. Rumble feeds my YouTube, YouTube feeds Odyssey, and then I've got triple redundancy there. So that helps my content stay up there. But YouTube made me take down hundreds of videos, and all of my videos that had over 400 views had to come down, with the exception of one. They made me take them all down. So now my watch hours don't even qualify for monetization. All my videos with, tens of thousands, I had a couple with over 100,000 views. They're all gone. Couldn't have them up there anymore. And they didn't let anybody see the live stream. But I do appreciate it. Yeah, I'll take a look at them and, because we went to D Live and we were growing like gangbusters at D Live, and then they censored us. So then we went to Trovo. It's just one of those things. It's really not difficult, Warren. It's not difficult at all. They're all part of the files. So super easy to do. 5 years ago, it was more difficult. Right now, not hard. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Also covering for Pat Miller today on News Talk 1190 WOWO, 107.5 FM. Again, want to thank the Fort Wayne audience for joining us. I'm not done yet. Okay, here's the thing. There are a few things that I'm going to devote extra time to on the show because they are that important. And the filth and, frankly, the crap that is coming out of Biden's mouth today about firearms and these executive orders and everything else. And I know that we touched on one of those EOs yesterday, so I'm not going to bore you too much with that one today. But the guy gave a speech, and he gave a speech in which he repeatedly, over and over and over and over again, got the ATF's name wrong. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with his mind at all. Look, if you do it one time, all right. AFT, sure. The Abacal Bureau of Tobacco and Firearms, he said. Abacal. All right, that's Biden. But in the midst of this speech, he continues to repeat the same old lies that the gun control groups have been using forever. And I talked about, was it Monday? What is today? Thursday? Monday. And I put this up in the podcast as well. I think I even put it on video. So if you're watching on, because we're going to 3 platforms today. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that video, but it's on Rumble and it's on Odyssey as well. The left has no shame. They don't. They will lie to you. When they get caught, they don't care. They're not embarrassed by it. Their supporters and their followers who were duped into believing that lie and repeated that lie are not angry that they were misled. They just don't care. There's no shame at all. So now we go back to the stabilizing brace. Boy, was there some fun stuff about stabilizing braces. Now, first of all, most of you know, I am not a firearms expert, but I've got a pretty well-rounded bit of knowledge with them. But I am a holster maker. And when I hear people like Merrick Garland talk about how AR pistols are concealable pistols with this brace on, I don't really, you can't take them seriously. You know, a couple of years ago, there was an article written by an anti-gun activist who said, look, anti-gun activists have to start learning about firearms because you're embarrassing yourselves and you're damaging their movement. And I would agree with that because at least if they're learning about firearms, yeah, they might become a more effective opponent and be more capable of taking away your rights. But a lot of them are going to learn the truth and they're not going to be as spooked because they're not going to be just force-fed these lies. So here's Joe Biden. Joe, let's go to the next clip here. So Joe Biden is now talking about the stabilizing brace of an AR pistol and how the stabilizing brace, and I kid you not, and see, this is where if you don't laugh, you know you're in the category of people who doesn't know anything about guns. If you do laugh, you'll understand why. The stabilizing brace of an AR pistol makes it, and I quote, more lethal. Here's Joe Biden.
Treat pistols modified with stabilizing braces with the seriousness they deserve. A stabilizing brace shook in a pencil essentially makes that pistol a hell of a lot more accurate than a mini rifle. As a result, it's more lethal, effectively turning it into a short-barreled rifle. That's what the alleged shooter in Boulder appears to have done.
Yeah, the anti-white Muslim terrorist. Let's just call him what he is. Oh, is the media still not telling you about his anti-white racism? Going back to high school, the Syrian guy in Boulder, Colorado, who went to the grocery store and was laughing hysterically as he was only shooting white people? They still haven't mentioned that to you? Oh, interesting. So, the brace does not make an AR pistol more deadly at all, period. End of story. Like I said, if you weren't laughing about that, that's because you're in the camp that doesn't know anything about firearms. Congratulations. Start learning. But then Merrick Garland is like, AR pistol is a concealed pistol, even with the brace on. What? Since when? But this is the type of nonsense that they keep spreading. I'm not done. I'm trying to get through this, hopefully in this segment. We'll see. Okay. He goes on to say that gun violence in this country is an epidemic and an international embarrassment. I don't need to play that one, Joe. You can skip over that one, okay? That's not a big deal. But I do want to go into him talking about the U.S. Constitution. So Joe, just go past the gun violence is an epidemic video and go to the multiple lies about the U.S. Constitution video. Here's Usurper Joe.
But no amendment to the Constitution is absolute. You
Really?
can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater. We call it freedom of speech. From the very beginning, you couldn't own any weapon you wanted to own. From the very beginning the Second Amendment existed, certain people weren't allowed to have weapons. So the idea is just bizarre to suggest that some of the things we're recommending are contrary to the Constitution.
Yeah.
Gun violence.
Okay,
in this
let's
country
just
is
go
an
ahead and just cut it off
epidemic.
there. Because all of that is untrue. Now, I love laughing at people who pull this crap up and no. The Second Amendment is only about muskets. Okay, You don't know anything about the firearms that existed at the time, including the rapid fire weapons that were freely available to anybody, or volley shots, or the fact that the caliber of bullet that you're now trying to get rid of, which is far, far, far higher caliber than what we're dealing with on a regular basis now, was commonplace in the standard at the time. How about the fact that you used to be able to personally own cannon? I would like to be able to own some cannon. Now, you still can, but you got to jump through some extra hoops. Back then, all you needed was a barn to store it. You didn't need to jump through any extra hoops. Back in colonial days, if you wanted a cannon, you had a cannon. If you wanted a naval warship, guess what you did? You got a naval warship, and you got to have it around and use it anytime you wanted to. But now, of course, you can't have any of that. You really want to go back? You want to have that discussion about going back to colonial days? He, of course, lies about the well-regulated militia thing. That's been debunked again a million times. This guy knows absolutely nothing about it. Now, there was a group of people, I will say this, okay? There was a group of people at the beginning of the Second Amendment, even before the Constitution, when you go back to the Articles of Confederation, there was a group of people that could not own firearms. I will admit that. They were called slaves. How did that work out for them? More coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and filling in for Pat Miller on Newstalk 1190 WOWO, 107.5 FM.
Casey Hendrickson.
Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel.
All right. Where's my chat? Oh, chat's being weird. Okay. Yeah, you can get a cannon. There's some heavy restrictions on them. Yep. The Garandani, man, that thing is still awesome. To be honest with you. Volley fire guns and everything else. They would see a volley fire gun right now and they'd be like, no, you could kill everybody in a mall at one time. All right, I got to get all this in the daily show prep here. And I think, again, Andy, we kind of talked about this on previous streams, but that's one of the things that I think has them really worried is that, you've always been able to make your own firearms at home, but now it's easy. It didn't used to be easy. Now it's really easy. So, start running into some real issues. All right, get this in the show prep today. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, and if you could do me a favor, just hit that like button and also comment. That helps the algorithm. Just trying to rebuild the YouTube channel after they forced me to nuke it. I'll include part of Biden, not all of it, but part of Biden mispronouncing ATF. It's the AFT, the Abacal Bureau of Tobacco and Firearms. Bureau of Abacal. Yeah, library is right now the best place to get your printed files for Second Amendment stuff. That is, right now, that is the best place. Obviously, individuals, like what Kay has, individuals have those files and they'll share them. And the library's got them there in the blockchain forever. So, not going to be able to get rid of them. Woot. Blockchain foe to win. Yeah. How is the tube doing today, anyway? No, I'm with you, man. I get what DefCAD was trying to do early on, but DefCAD doesn't have a monopoly on it anymore, and it doesn't make any sense to pay them any money. They don't even have the best files anymore. I want a howitzer, and I should be allowed to have one. Change my mind. Yeah, library, man. And that's, I didn't realize it at first when we started doing the Odyssey thing. I didn't realize that library actually is Odyssey. So once that happened, we started posting up onto Odyssey too. Who doesn't? Who doesn't want a silenced Barrett? Well, you know that suppressor will reduce its effective range. That sucks, Kellyanne. Tommy gun is still one of the greatest firearms ever made. To this day. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I am your host, Casey Hendrickson, also covering for Pat Miller on News Talk 1190 WOA, 107.5 FM. All right, I've got a couple of lighter, well, smaller stories. We call them kicker topics. So these are not necessarily affiliated with what happened today, but you know, this is the thing. There are times where I try to have a relatively fast-paced show. So when I set up a topic, I plan on maximum talking about it for 2 segments. Maximum. If I can get it down to 1, that's great. Generally speaking, you can't always do that with some of these bigger issues because you got to go over the details and that sort of stuff, and it just doesn't allow you to do it. But there are times where the issue is so important and the misinformation is so vast that you just have to devote some extra time to it. I am cutting the firearm thing short today, just because I don't want the entire first hour to be about guns. I know that many of you would be okay with that. And I know that a lot of you are like, okay, we get it. Yeah, whatever. But the information is critical. And this just, again, it goes back to what I said on Monday in the podcast that's available, in the video that is available on Rumble and YouTube at Casey the Host. The left has no shame. They will lie to you repeatedly. You will demonstrate that it's a lie. And they will either continue to lie to you without any shame, or they will move on from it as if it was never even a discussion. And they continuously get away with it. You know, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. I'm going to actually flip this just a little bit because 60 Minutes, right? So 60 Minutes recently ran a whole thing about a fake, non-existent pay-to-play scandal in Florida. Right, which involved Publix, was it like a grocery store, I guess, and the vaccines and stuff. So 60 Minutes, CBS News, my former employer, CBS News runs this whole hit piece on Governor DeSantis. Everybody in Florida points out that CBS not only didn't get the story right, CBS intentionally, with the exculpatory evidence in their hands, lied to their audience in order to smear Governor DeSantis. That's the thing that is the biggest part of this. And again, if we had an honest news media out there, everybody would be eviscerating CBS News for doing this in 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes is supposed to be, of your network news, supposed to be one of the most reliable of your network news programs. That's the one that dives into the issues and things like that. And unfortunately, over the past couple of years, CBS has tried to rebuild their reputation. And I've just watched over the past year, maybe year and a half, they've just thrown that out the window. And they're like, you know what? We don't want to be respected anymore. We're just going to get in the gutter again. It probably was better for their ratings getting in the gutter, which is exactly what they're doing. So just so everybody is well aware of this, I'm not going to go into the whole thing about the 60 Minutes deal, but 60 Minutes ran a piece about a pay-for-play scheme between Governor DeSantis and Publix, which is the store. It was a complete lie. Even the Democratic mayor in the area said he's eviscerated CBS on this, and he goes, what they have done to Governor DeSantis in this story is completely untrue, and they knew it was untrue because I talked with them for a long time, and I gave them the information that they ignored in their story. He even offered to sit down and talk with him for an additional 2 hours to straighten the story out, and CBS denied it. So now here's what's happening, again, because they have no shame. Because 60 Minutes, I know it's not the first time you've heard of CBS News fabricating a story about a Republican in order to go ahead and destroy their political careers. Of course, DeSantis is considered a potential candidate for president in 2024. So CBS runs this fake story. Even the Democrats in Florida are like, whoa, this is some bullcrap. This is not true. This didn't happen. The whole CBS 60 Minutes story is not true. It's false. So instead of the news media, one, going, hey, CBS, what are you doing? You're giving us all a bad reputation. And instead of CBS going, wow, we didn't realize that our production team had been so far off of the mark and that the executives from CBS would have disciplined them. They didn't do that. No, instead what they're doing is they're changing the narrative of how they were reporting this. This is no joke. CBS has shifted the 60 Minutes DeSantis peace narrative to lack of vaccine access for minorities, which for the record was already a debunked narrative like 3 months ago. Well, maybe not that long. 2 months ago. Remember they tried to have local media out there going, well, why are you giving the vaccine only to these white people up here? And remember, it was all age-based. And so they put the vaccine in the counties that had the highest average age of population first because that's all they had. And it just so happened that most of the older people in Florida happened to be white people. And that was the whole premise of it. It was purely by zip code. But they were trying to say that it was denying minorities the vaccine. But the minorities who were being denied the vaccine were those who weren't even allowed to get the vaccine because they weren't in the age bracket. So anyway, here we go. What do we have? CBS News continues to stand by its false report. Last week's 60 Minutes story was about the vaccine rollout to seniors in Palm Beach County and focused on a lack of access to minority communities. Now, again, the mayor of the area said it wasn't true. So now, instead of it being a pay-for-play scheme, they're just saying, no. This is just purely about lack of access for minorities. That's not what the piece was about at all. Not at all. And even the Democratic mayor says it's nonsense and it's a lie. Did they apologize? Did they pivot to it? No, because they have no shame, which is why they were able to lie to you for the past 5 years straight, and they paid no price for it. More coming up. My new cold brew. Bought a cold brew machine that cold brews coffee in less than half an hour. Okay. Since we're talking about the suppressed 50 cal still, and we got to talk about Top Secret again, the movie. Top Secret did the funniest gag on suppressed weapons ever in the history of anything. Without a doubt. One of the best things ever done. Yeah, I haven't been a big cold brew person, but I'm going to get into it this year. This year, I'm going to make sure that I'm into it. But yeah, it's God, what is it called? Darlene or something? Hold on, let me pull it up. One of the tech YouTubers I follow had it on his thing here recently. And yeah, you run this bad boy, And it will, yeah, the Dorothy. Okay, the Presto Dorothy cold brew. And here, let me pull up the, I'll pull up the listing on Amazon for you so you can see it. All right. Oh, come on, man. What is happening here? That is weird. No. There we go. Okay. So that's it. And you just put your grounds in, your water, and this thing tornadoes up and just makes the cold brew.
At Cold Brewer by Presto, a tornado spins coffee grounds through the water to make cold brew fast. It's smooth and flavorful with no bitterness because grounds are never exposed to high temperatures. The Dorothy Cold Brewer is easy to use. Insert the stirring cup into the carafe and place on the power base. Add water. Select the brew speed and watch the tornado form. Gradually turn the dial until the tip of the tornado extends down to the top of the stirring cup. Pour in ground coffee and let it stir to your desired strength. 10 minutes for a flavorful lighter brew, 20 minutes for full strength, or up to 30 minutes for ultra strong coffee. Turn off and let the brewer rest for about 5 minutes. Then attach the plunger with filter and press down slowly and evenly to filter the coffee and move grounds into the stirring cup.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's News
You get it.
and 95.3 MNC.
But it did good. This is the first time using it last night. It worked really well. Less than 30 minutes. You can do it as little as 10. But I like extra strong coffee. So the fact that you don't have to do it in 24 hours, man. Well, people have to remember too. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with OAN, and they do a lot of really good work. And there's some people over at OAN that I absolutely love. But you have to vary how you're getting your information. Otherwise, you're always going to find yourself in an echo chamber. That's just human nature. And Fox, when it got taken over by the kids, you know, the kids are liberal. Dad wasn't. So it's illegal. So yeah, I got a good frother and everything else too. So I'm planning on actually doing it. But this is pretty good. I just put a little sugar in it just because it's not my coffee. It's another brand. You get the real news from NPR. NPR, who finally admitted that I was right months ago. That's funny. That's good stuff. Well, I mean, it just depends. Like, NPR has a large audience because NPR is government-funded national syndication. So, you know, throughout the entire country, NPR has a large audience. But in various markets, NPR performs differently. So, like, they do really well in South Bend, but they don't do well on the other side of the border. Yeah, that's basically iced coffee, and iced coffee is a little bit different than cold brew. You know, to each his own. It isn't a big deal. I'm just a coffee snob, so. Well, one of the reasons I like my percolator is that in my percolator, I can do three things. I can go to my AeroPress, I can go to my French press, and I can go to my pour over. And all three of them make a much better cup of coffee than I can get even out of my Ninja coffee machine, which is fantastic. So, yeah, it's just, there are people who don't really care about the flavor of coffee and they just want the caffeine and it's part of their morning routine, and that's fine. I care. It's a big deal to me. I don't know the science behind it, but cold brew, to me, tastes a lot smoother, and I think it's because it hasn't been heated up. So it's more like a tea than just having cold coffee. I don't know if that really makes sense. If you ever find yourself with an opportunity to have like some iced coffee and some cold brew and do a side-by-side, do that and see if you prefer cold brew. There are people who swear by cold brew over anything else. I get it. I think it's better than iced coffee. Personally, I'm not a big fan of iced coffee, but I also know people who can't really tell the difference all that much. So everybody's palate's a little bit different. Tom and I are in agreement. Like, this is super, super strong, like cold brew coffee, and it tastes just fine. It's like iced tea almost. Yeah, like I said, everybody's palate's different, and the nitro cold brew is not a joke. That is legit. That is legit coffee. Nitro is very good. And Keurig is fine. When I do the Keurig, like, there's a couple of brands who make decent K-Cups. But when I do the Keurig, I just get the reusable thing, and I put my own coffee grounds in it. And that's where I think the Keurig really shines. And it's very convenient. Keurig is super, super convenient. But it's not the best tasting coffee in the world. But it's good. It's fine. Most of the K-Cups have a plasticky taste to them, to me, that I don't like that much. But there are a few that are really good and I don't notice it. I like Donut Shop. Donut Shop, I think they did a really good job with that blend. They've got like a midnight something or other that's really good too. Rev, I like Rev. Rev is good. Glenn Greenwald is great. He's a real journalist, Glenn Greenwald is just a really good journalist. Oh, crap. I forgot to send something to you, Joe. Hold on. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Once again, I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. All right. Joe, I just sent you another thing. Sorry, I was chatting on the live stream during the news break and I lost track of time, but I just sent you another video. Now, there's actually two videos here that you can play. But I only want the first one. So if you could just let me know when the first one is ready to go, Joe, we will go ahead and play that one. I also want to thank R&B Car Company, locations in South Bend and Warsaw. R&B Car Company are your used car experts. You can find them online at rbcarcompany.com. I also want to thank the Fort Wayne audience for joining us today. Pat Miller is out once again. All right, so let's talk about what is happening with COVID. There's a couple of different things. What's that, Joe? Yeah, the Today Show one, the first video, not the second one. So it is some states with stricter rules. That is the one that we want to play. All right, perfect. So we'll get to that here in just a second. Like I said, that's my fault. I was chatting with the live stream. But if you want to follow the live stream, go to trovo.live/Casey the host. You can hang out with us during the commercial breaks, and then you can distract me from doing my job, just like everybody else. So with COVID, there's some things that are happening with COVID that have people, well, shall we say, perplexed. They don't really understand why things are developing the way that they are developing. And as a result, I get to kind of laugh a little bit. And again, if wiser people who were not using COVID for political reasons had been running this thing, we would have already been done with this mess. We would have already been done with it. But unfortunately, COVID just happened to hit in a massive political year and got exploited in this country, certainly for politics, in other countries for politics, and then in other countries for various other reasons. And there is now, of course, we are well aware of this Great Reset notion, which has been, it's not a new idea, this Great Reset. If you're not familiar with the Great Reset, we did a little show on it a while back. A lot of other people have done a show on it too. It's not a conspiracy theory because they're freely admitting that they're trying to do this. And basically the Great Reset is we're going to reset our society overall, globally. We're just going to reset it. We're going to start over. We're going to push environmental stuff. We're going to, completely change infrastructure. We're going to do all of this. So much so that they're now talking about in the United States, they're trying to push, and we've seen some people in the Biden administration advocate this. They're trying to push for 2 to 3 lockdowns at least a year. Even when COVID is gone, they want the lockdowns to allow the environment to heal. So just so we're crystal clear, they have simultaneously made the false claim that 2020 was the second hottest year on record. It wasn't, but that's the claim that they're making, while also saying that COVID healed the environment and led to less pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. Okay. So if there was less emissions, less pollution, less man-made damage, as they tried to push upon everybody early on in the pandemic, like they're trying to do with the Venice canals and all of that stuff. Oh, look how clear the water is. Yeah, the water is clear because you don't have a bunch of people poking sticks into the bottom of the water and pulling all the sediment up. But that's the only thing that has changed. I can't believe that I actually had to do a show where I had to explain to local news anchors that boats, gondolas, don't pollute. They're not motorboats. We had to have that discussion for some strange reason. But they've been pushing this, from the very beginning. Oh, the smog in Los Angeles and all of that stuff. And there's no doubt that when there's nobody driving, that air pollution and air quality are certainly higher. There's no doubt about that. But when it comes to the warming issue or things of that nature, that's where things get, obviously a little wonky. But now you've got everybody just kind of running around and looking at, I've got this video here from climate czar John Kerry. Doesn't wear his mask on airplanes. Climate czar John Kerry back in 2009. Remember, in 2009, he predicted that Arctic summer ice would disappear in 5 years. Guess what? Still got it. Still got it. It's at record levels. Wonder where that came from. So you continue to run into these just weird stories about all of this. But they actually want these lockdowns perpetually to allow the planet to heal. The planet needs a break from human beings at least a couple of times a year. So we're just going to do the lockdowns again, destroy the economy, everybody takes a vacation, all under the guise of healing the planet, which doesn't make any sense, and it's certainly totally and completely unscientific. So that kind of brings me into the Today Show. Now, this is all about COVID, okay? I know I went on a little environmental tangent there, but this is about COVID. The Today Show did a story, they did a segment on the health experts who are completely out of their element, and they have no idea what in the world is happening in Texas. Fauci, just this week, he was asked about this. He's like, why is Texas having a reduction in cases, but places that still have strict restrictions like Michigan and elsewhere are having an increase in cases? And Fauci's like, I don't know. Fauci has no idea what it is because nobody has told Fauci what to think yet. So I want you to listen to this. Joe, go ahead and roll that segment for me, please.
Call it a COVID conundrum. In states with the strictest measures in the country, like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and much of New England, cases are on the rise.
Weird.
While in the South, states like Arkansas and Texas that have reopened businesses and ripped away mask mandates are seeing their numbers drop.
I'm announcing today that the statewide mask mandate will be lifted.
People and businesses don't need the state telling them how to operate.
Mm-hmm.
So what might explain the apparent contradiction? One theory, differences in testing rates. Alabama has experienced one of the biggest dips in reported infections, more than 50% in 2 weeks. But it's also dead last in the U.S. for COVID testing.
Interesting.
Only 56 tests per 100,000 people. That's a fraction of what you'll find in places like Vermont, Massachusetts, and New York, where numbers are surging.
How much does lack of adequate testing have to do with the numbers that we're
Joe,
seeing
you know,
right now?
Joe, you can just stop it right there because the rest of it's not really relevant. Okay, so what they do is they're looking at this and they're going, now they're picking on Arkansas here because, again, Florida is a whole other ballgame. But they tried to do this about Florida. Remember when everyone was having the surge in September and Florida had a smaller surge than everybody else? And then CNN randomly just like attacked Florida. Florida's had a 150% increase in COVID cases when everywhere else is having like a 300% and 400% increase. And they're just picking on Florida. New York didn't get mentioned. Michigan didn't get mentioned. Nothing else. Now, this all goes back, for some of you who are new listening to me on this, you've missed all of the epidemiologists and infectious disease experts that we have quoted on this show who said the lockdowns will cause there to be more virus. Oh, and by the way, mask mandates may actually be spreading the virus too. Now, again, that's not radio host Casey Hendrickson saying that. That's not some basement dweller on social media saying that. These are world-renowned epidemiologists and virologists. Why can't we listen to them? Now, there's research underway in Europe about the mask thing, and more information keeps coming out about it. Now, they don't necessarily understand what the connection is yet. They don't know if the mask is causing the virus to spread. They don't know if it's just because people are not cleaning or sanitizing their masks, or if they're wearing the ineffective materials, or they're not wearing their mask properly. They haven't really nailed that down yet. But what they have seen is that in a lot of places where you have more people wearing the mask on a regular basis, they tend to have higher cases of COVID. Isn't that interesting? So we're starting to see these trends very early in the research. I'm not drawing any conclusions on that, but it has been something that I've been pointing out in the data sets for a very long time on this show. And again, when I point this out, I quote infectious disease experts who are saying, hey, this might actually be a correlation we might need to take a look at. Now, you go back to August, the Associated Press said COVID was going away. Last August, COVID was going away because of the mask mandates. The mask mandates are what killed COVID. We won. Yay. Your Etsy moms were able to go out there and save the country with their sewn together masks, right? In their non-sterile environments with their kids and dogs and puppies and cats who walk through cat litter and cat poop and everything else. All of that stuff saved us from COVID. And then you had Governor Holcomb. He was out there too. He's like, my mask mandate is what saved Indiana. Yay. And then what happened the very next month? Huge surge in cases. And at that point in time, the one and only study that has ever been done throughout this pandemic that said masks reduced COVID rates was retracted. Because everywhere they said that mask mandates reduced COVID, every single solitary location in that study had an increase in COVID cases after the study was finished. So they retracted and apologized for their study. Why? Because they're good researchers who know what they're doing. Now, Fauci had no idea what was happening in Texas. They then go after Arkansas. Well, it's the testing. It's the testing. Here's the thing. This is the thing that everybody has to understand. I told you guys 9 months ago, the medical community, because I had access to a conference that the civilian public didn't have access to. The medical community at the time was saying COVID is going to become more infectious but less deadly and will likely be a seasonal virus. More infectious, less deadly, likely going to become a seasonal virus. That was like 9 months ago. That is now exactly what has been happening. We don't know if it's going to be seasonal yet, but Pfizer wants to give you a seasonal booster shot for their COVID vaccine. But what we are seeing is people get infected, but they don't go to the hospital. Relatively minor. Kind of interesting, right? The infections, the number of people infected was never a relevant statistic. The number of people with serious infections, hospitalizations, and deaths, those were the numbers that we needed to care about. With the PCR test, which I was one of the first in the country to tell you was giving you false positives for the flu, we now have open acknowledgement in the scientific community, in the infectious disease community, that the PCR test is in fact giving you false positives because it shows positive for the flu and it shows positive for COVID, and they're bound to write down that you have COVID. They're required to do it. I've had doctors talk about this on the show. We've gone over it several times. After the election, a very old podcast interview with Dr. Fauci in which he admitted back in May of last year that I was right about this whole thing. But I didn't come up with the theory. Experts did. The number of cases is irrelevant. So they're looking at this and they're going, wow, nobody's getting COVID in these places that are opening up. What's the deal? Oh, Arkansas is just not testing. That's why. We'll dive into that just a little bit. Coming up, News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and covering for Pat Miller on News Talk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM.
Casey Hendrickson.
News Talk 95.3, Michiana's.
Yep. I'm just looking at some data here. Hold on, folks. Yes. Okay. No. I don't want the county. Come on. What was that? Oh, okay. That's weird. That's weird. Okay. Hey everybody, Casey Hendrickson here. Got to tell you about allnaturalcbd.org. This is the place where I get my CBD lotion for pain relief. If you've got arthritis, fibromyalgia, any other minor aches and pains, or if you go to the gym on a regular basis and have muscle soreness the next day, this is the perfect product for you. It costs less than the competition. You get a bigger bottle than the competition, and this is a higher quality CBD, and it costs, did I mention it costs less? Yeah, higher quality CBD. This is full spectrum CBD. Most CBD that you're getting right now in this price point is going to be isolate, which is inferior. You go to allnaturalcbd.org and use my promo code KC10. You save 10%. They even have free shipping on orders over $25. So again, this bottle of lotion is going to last you quite a while if you use it sparingly. And even if you use it regularly every single day, the bottle is still going to last you quite a while. Go to allnaturalcbd.org, promo code KC10. All right, there we go. Yeah, the masks and the Spanish flu was, there was an issue with that quite a bit. Upper respiratory infections and everything else. Now, where is the... here we go. There we go. There we go. Hospital. Okay. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Thank you very much. Appreciate you joining us, including the Fort Wayne audience. Covering for Pat Miller today. So now we just got done talking about how the experts, and even the Today Show was like, the experts have no idea what's happening in Texas and Arkansas because they've released most of their restrictions for COVID, and their cases are going down. While states who have hefty restrictions, they're seeing a slight increase in cases. Michigan just had, for those of you in the Fort Wayne audience, Michigan's right next door to us. We actually cover Michigan. And they just had, like at the beginning of the week, they had like a surge of new cases, which are probably related to spring break type stuff, but who knows? So the experts, air quote, the experts don't really have an idea why places who have less restrictions are having a reduction in cases. So the Today Show and the experts that they interviewed, their tactic was to attack Arkansas for the number of tests that they're doing. Okay, the number of tests are irrelevant because you can look at their hospital data. You know how many people are admitted to the hospital in Arkansas right now for COVID? The entire state? 141. 141 people in the hospital, the entire state, not in the ICU. 62 people are in the ICU in Arkansas because of COVID. And that number's continued to drop. If you look at the Arkansas COVID data, so what the news is trying to do, what the Today Show is trying to do is the only reason they're not showing cases is because they're not testing anybody. And so you get the average person out there isn't thinking about this going, oh, sneaky Arkansas. But if you look at the hospitalizations, they continue to decline. The number of people in the ICU continue to decline. Deaths continue to decline. So you can therefore extrapolate out things are still going pretty swimmingly in Arkansas, just like they are in Texas. And actually, they're going pretty good everywhere in the country right now for a whole host of reasons. But that's how they're manipulating this stuff. They try and spin it and twist it in a way to go ahead and make you think that Arkansas is doing something. Now, if I were a Hollywood celebrity, what I would likely be doing right now, looking at all of these restrictive blue states that are having an increase in cases and all of these permissive red states that are reopening and having a reduction in cases, I would say that's God's work. Because that's what celebrities do every time a red state has hardship. It's because God is punishing them for being Republican. So I guess God is blessing these red states then for being Republican and punishing the blue states for being liberal. More coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and covering for Pat on News Talk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM. All right. You have 1,000 rounds, huh? It's oh, that's funny. All right. Oh, Pat's a buddy of mine, Butter. He's a buddy. So he might actually be out again tomorrow, too, they're telling me. So I've been told to prepare to fill in for him tomorrow. Yes, Joe. Okay, so he should be back tomorrow. All right, cool. Pat should be back tomorrow. So there you go. All right. Well, that's not his fault. I mean, yeah, no. It's not. It wasn't anything that he did, so things happen. Of course, if I for some reason have to drop out of the show because something comes up and I give like 3 hours notice, it's like, that's not enough time. You're killing me here. Like, man, I gave you 3 hours. What do you want? Oh, I'm going to send you another video, Joe. And this one makes me smile so much. You have no idea how much this makes me smile. Wait, did it not save? I got to pull this out of the... All right, I guess I got to pull this out of the Discord server. Hold on a second. I finally got back to the chiropractor today because I've had like a month straight where I didn't get to do the two days per week. I only got to do the 1 day per week. And so I'm paying for it a little bit today. All right. There we go. Okay. Here it comes, Joe. Boom. You only have one box left? Oh my God. Perfect. Thank you. Are you achy today too? Was that you that was in there with me earlier today? There was a listener that was in there when I got in there today. I think it was their first time. Well, you can do some dry fire this weekend. Yeah, movie stars only believe in God when God is punishing Republicans. That's the only time they believe in God. Yeah, I think you said that Gun Broker had ammo yesterday, too. I can't even get it wholesale, guys. I sell ammo. I can't even get it wholesale. Well, you can pick it up on the website, or you can go to any of the eSigWorks locations, and they got it in stock, too. Coupon code works there also. I don't think you're alone. I think that a lot of people would do some sketchy stuff for ammo at this point. I think morals have gone out the window. Now it's about survival. Excuse me. No, you can ship ammo. Yeah, I've heard the same thing, Al. Like police, I was talking to a cop here a couple of weeks ago, and they were saying the same thing. Like they have no ammo to train with. Yeah, that Uber situation, man. That has me so... I haven't talked about it on the show because it pisses me off so much. So mad. Don't get a paintball gun. Get that full auto DPMS. That DPMS AR, that full auto. I think a bunch of us on Discord are going to get it. That thing is awesome. Some good plinking with that bad boy. I do. It's not even the best one. It's just that, you know, it's got such a good price point. I've seen several others that are better and people prefer, but they cost like 3 times as much as that thing. Yeah, I think I'm going to do a stogie tonight. I think I'm going to disappear into the garage and do some Kydex. AR-47. That's just it. Pellet gun, maybe? Pellet gun will do some damage. Oy. Y'all see that video of Joe Biden lecturing that woman about social distancing when he was this far from her face? Dude, okay. It's in the garage. I have one here, but the other one's in the garage. And I haven't had this one yet. So, I'll try and remember for 5 o'clock, okay? Spam me at 5 as I'm going into the 5 o'clock break. Spam me so I can go get it. I want to make sure that you have that information. I forgot all about that, man. Sorry. And if you're on YouTube, please, friendly reminder, Trovo is the place to follow. I'm just doing YouTube today. I don't even know if I'm going to do it tomorrow, but Trovo is the place to follow because right now Trovo is the most active live streaming service that I use. I'll check out that other one that they have as well. Somebody, Kay, recommended that to me earlier today. I'll check them out, but we'll get to a point where I have a thing that I can just put on my website, and then it doesn't matter what the service is. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Got a couple little updates here. I'm also covering for Pat Miller on News Talk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM. I do apologize. I always forget to mention that. Lee Zeldin. That's right. The congressman from New York, Lee Zeldin, has announced that he is going to run for governor of New York. He's going to run against Andrew Grandma Killer Cuomo. So that's interesting. Lee Zeldin is well, he's one of the good guys. I don't always agree with him, but he's one of the good guys. And he would certainly be a marked step up in New York. So we'll see how that goes for him. It's always a tough race, but Republicans can win in New York. It's not always an easy time, but they can win in New York. But he did announce yesterday that he is going to run for governor of New York against Grandma Killer Cuomo. Go to San Francisco. The Board of Education in the People's Republic of San Francisco, which resides inside the People's Republic of California, has formally reversed its decision to rename more than 40 public schools with names that they deemed problematic or connected to racism and oppression, including schools named after George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. You know, that horrendous racist Abraham Lincoln. Several months after they attempted to rebrand the initiative and they got tossed into the national spotlight. You know, we told you, obviously, this is an old issue. Trump tried to take credit for predicting this stuff, but this is an old issue. They tried to cancel founding fathers, and they've even canceled Lincoln a couple of times in the past too, long before Trump was in the political realm. So it does happen with some regularity. It's ramping up more so than it has been for longer periods of time. Now, according to the San Francisco Chronicle, the school board voted unanimously for a resolution to overturn the school renaming decision, which would have required a large-scale and potentially costly effort at the taxpayers' expense, which doesn't really matter all that much to California politicians because at least it isn't their money, right? The outcome of the vote was expected and was designed to avoid litigation from opponents of the policy who have alleged the board violated state law by not giving proper notification ahead of the vote, something that we talked about the last time this story came up. And again, it kind of goes into what we have talked about with some of these public health officials too. They're supposed to give notice. They're supposed to confer with people around them. There are boards, there are commissions that are designed to advise and consent. And instead of doing that, they just do their own thing unilaterally, even though they're not supposed to do that. So it happens all the time. All the time. What else do we have here? Oh, this is another story. I have to go along with that video that I sent to you in the next segment, Joe, because we're going to have some interesting things to play for you. Really interesting and inspiring video coming up in the next segment. Do look forward to playing that for you. Also, another situation where trees are racist. Now, somebody mentioned this on the live stream yesterday, and I think I was thinking that this was the story where they were saying that trees were racist because of the separation, that the traditional separation, you know, in the early 1900s, where you had trees that would line private country clubs. And if the country club happened to abut up to a lower income or a minority neighborhood, they would put those trees there so that way you didn't have to see the neighborhood and the neighborhood couldn't see into the golf course, right? So yesterday I was thinking that that's what that was when somebody posted about trees are racist in Oregon again, because that was also an Oregon story. But I was wrong. There is a new thing in Oregon, that a high school in Portland has delayed the confirmation of its new team name because it's worried that trees might be racist. This is a real story. Now here, we had the issue with the Goshen High School changing their mascot here a couple of years ago, and it's one of those perpetual things that we seem to be facing all throughout the country. But, no joke, this school was apparently changing their name to, or is it a new school? I'm trying to decide. I can't figure this out. I can't tell if it's a new school, if they're just renaming it. Anyway, they're going to make their mascot the Evergreens, which for the record is the tree that you see everywhere in Oregon, which makes perfect sense. You go anywhere in Oregon, especially around Portland, there's evergreens everywhere, okay? Everywhere. So, yeah, that's apparently racist. The Portland School Board was concerned, very concerned, that Ida B. Wells High School would associate itself with racism if it changed its mascot to the Evergreens. Okay, so they're changing the mascot. I wonder what the old mascot was. I'm too lazy to look it up. I'm wondering if there was any concern with the imagery there and using a tree as our mascot, asked Portland Public Schools Board of Education Director Michelle DePass, because of course it's a lady. I think everyone comes with blind spots, and I think that might have been a really big blind spot. It's offensive for you to say blind spot, by the way. You know what evergreens are, right? I mean, evergreens are Christmas trees. They're Christmas trees. Like, everybody understands that, right? Except for, like, the two of you atheists out there who get really offended by these things. Now, one of the funniest memes, there's that meme that's got the guy who's sweating which button to push. So, the button on the left, trees are racist. The button on the right, logging hurts Mother Earth. Now you have to ask a question. Is Gaia, Mother Earth, is Gaia racist because she allows trees to grow. Maybe that's the real battle against global warming, because global warming would actually make the planet much more habitable for the overwhelming majority of creatures on this planet, including human beings. It would make things much better for us if the planet were to actually warm up a little bit. But the problem with the planet warming up is that you're going to have more plant life. You're going to have more dense forests, and that could be very problematic because, well, trees are racist. I don't know if there is a history of using evergreens for lynching. My guess is probably not really conducive to that, but I suppose it is possible. I'm not really aware of that being a huge thing. So now when the war on Christmas happens this year, the Christmas tree, it's got a mark right there on its back. They're coming for it. I'm telling you right now, they're coming for it. You're going to go buy your Christmas tree and they're going to start selling you different stuff because evergreens are racist. This is a real story, folks. This is not The Onion or even the Babylon Bee. This is a very real story in the New York Post about this Portland school board really upset that the school wants to change its mascot to the evergreens, which is racist. Just so everybody knows. Got more coming up. Newstalk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and also covering for Pat Miller on Newstalk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM. The funny thing is, I said this isn't the Babylon Bee, but I did pull the story from not the bee, which I find amusing. So there you go. I had no energy when I came down to start this show, but I did something before I came down. You know what I did? Had a Virillitat. True story. Took about 20 minutes to kick in, but that Virillitat is carrying me through this show right now. YouTube Police Department. Okay, I dig that. That's funny. That's good stuff. The YouTube Police Department. All right. Some of your comments are getting hidden, so I'm just unhiding them. Sorry, guys. Except for that one from Mike, because we can't have that on there. All right, can let that one on there. That one on there. Ooh, man. YouTube is censoring a bunch of stuff. What's up, Cody? No, YouTube is just censoring a bunch of stuff. Pretty much everything that Mike has posted on YouTube has been censored. One I agree with. But yeah, there's been a lot that has been censored from like 3 users on YouTube, like a bunch of their stuff. Mike, one of them. Kay was another one. And they just got tons of censorship going on there. Make sure you, oh, you know what? That's the chat. That's not the comments. That's a live stream. Here here I am not realizing how everything works. Oh, there's no doubt they'll come. That's why I have no music, because the first thing that they try to do is hit me with a copyright complaint. I guarantee you the video clips that we played will somehow get a copyright claim on them. So just the sound bites that I was playing from television, they'll get a copyright claim on them. SWAT team. Oh, man. What a flippin' mess, dude. What a mess. But of the platforms that for video that I will try and see if I can make work, try and do something with YouTube. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do live streams on YouTube, though, but if I can do the video uploads, which have been going pretty good on YouTube. I'm not getting a ton of views, but they're not letting anybody see them, so. Twitter apparently shadow banned Gina Carano. All right. Can't even play commercial breaks. I'm gonna have I think if I do this again, I just ran out of time today, so I'll have like some copyright free background music on the commercial break. Just like lounge music, so it'll be like ambiance. So you're not just staring at the side of my face while I'm doing stuff. Oh, good for you, B-dubs. Alex and I think, have a deal for next week, right? We're doing carnivore next week. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Also covering for Pat Miller today on News Talk 1190 WOWO, 107.5 FM. Joe, so I sent you that clip here. It is the one that's in the absolutely spectacular link that I sent you. I want to go ahead and play that clip here. If you can get that ready for me, that would be fantastic. Let me know when that's ready to go. Before we do that, a high school track coach has been fired after refusing to make his team wear masks. This is in New Hampshire. The high school track and field coach was fired after refusing to tell his team that they had to wear masks when they competed. Pembroke Academy track and field coach Bradley Keys, only 2 names, he's a trustworthy man, who coached at Pembroke for 4 years but was not a teacher there, asked the school if the New Hampshire Interscholastic Athletic Association's guidelines requiring masks were guidance or a mandate. Informed that Pembroke and fellow competing schools agreed with the policy, on Saturday, Keys issued a blog post encouraging others to tell the school that they opposed the policy, while adding an email that he sent to the school's athletic director that stated, and I quote, "I'll come straight to the point. I will not put kids on the track and tell them to run any races while wearing masks. I will not stand up in front of the kids and lie to them and tell them that these masks are doing anything worthwhile out in an open field with wind blowing and the sun shining. These insane policies are robbing kids of once-in-a-lifetime opportunities for no valid reason other than irrational fears and going along with the sheep. Fire me if you must." He then called the guidelines senseless, irrational, cowardice, bull bleep. Can we hire this guy? Any local school, just hire this guy. I don't even hire him. Here's the thing. There's a bunch of people out there who have never exercised in their entire lives. And I know, I'm overweight right now, and I'm not one to be talking. But most of you know my athletic background. They've never exercised in their entire lives. They've certainly never used masks to increase their blood counts. It is very restrictive, and it is dangerous when you are exercising to be wearing these things. That's not my opinion. That is medical scientific fact. There is a reason specially designed masks, which they don't want you wearing for COVID because they have a valve on them. Those masks, which allow more air than your standard masks, which make it easier for you to breathe than your standard masks, there is a reason that those make exercising more difficult. It is designed to help train you up. So if you're trying to increase your cardiovascular health and trying to increase your white blood cell counts and that sort of thing, that's kind of what you do. But having kids running track and field while wearing a mask is, I'm sorry, not sorry, that is horrendously stupid. And it is extremely dangerous. You know how much attention they have given to energy drinks for teenage kids who play athletics at high school? And diet pills and stuff like that for increasing your heart rate and then sending those kids out to exercise, and how dangerous those are. Yet we're going to go ahead and throw a restrictive air device over their face? That is so stupid. It makes no sense. This coach is actually looking out for the safety of his athletes, and he got punished for it. Now, speaking of masks, I want to go ahead and play this video. Now, you can't really understand a lot of it at the beginning of it. Don't worry, I'll walk you through it later. You'll understand the point of it pretty quick. But this is a restaurant. The health inspectors come in wearing masks, and essentially the woman who owns the restaurant basically says, "I abide by common law, and I'm a woman, and you're trespassing on my property," and kicks them out. Have a listen.
So we just got file on health inspector here.
I am a woman, and I follow common law, so you have no jurisdiction over me. And you see the signs on the door there, so it's a trespass. Okay, can you understand what you're doing here? You're trespassing on my private property. You don't agree? Okay. All right.
Well, we are. You're going to ask to leave.
Wait for it.
Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up!
All right, so that was the entire restaurant yelling for the health inspectors to get out, and the health inspectors in the video turn tail and run. Now, the whole "I'm a woman" thing I thought was hysterical. She's like, "No, I abide by common law. I'm a woman, and you're trespassing on my property." And the guy says, "I don't agree with that." And then everybody in the restaurant starts shouting for them to leave, and they did. They retreated and they left the restaurant, which means we'll probably have a story tomorrow or later on in the week that this woman has been arrested and her restaurant has been shut down. More coming up next.
Barnaby's Pizza is back on MontereyLouisiana.com. Act fast to grab two $25 certificates for the price of one. These certificates are good for both the Mishawaka Barnaby's and the Grand Granger Barnaby's. Plus, all Mishawaka Barnaby's certificates and the Granger Barnaby's too. And don't worry, the Mishawaka Barnaby's location isn't going anywhere. Hurry and grab your 2 for $1 $25 certificates to Barnaby's Pizza.
Sorry, guys. So that's the link that I was posting in earlier on Discord. That we were having issues posting it. Good Lord, guys. Cry some more about the free content that I give you at my own expense. Cry. He gives us free things, but it hurts our ears. Yeah. We posted about it. Why is that coming in so loud? We posted about that pastor. There's some weird stuff happening with my microphone today, and I don't know why. Hey, white noise, people pay for white noise machines, and here I am giving it to you for free. Just stop complaining about it. Yeah, that guy who said, no, not, we posted about that too. No Nazis, get out. That was great. Alrighty. What else do we have? Anything new breaking right now? Well, technically it is 3 hours of white noise. So you're not wrong. You are not wrong. All right, I'm going to play you a commercial from Silver Fox because I've only played him one time today. I'll be back in just a couple minutes. Alrighty. Oh, they'll just pretend it didn't exist. No, what you talking about? That didn't happen. That's what they do with everything with the Nation of Islam. Dooby-dooby-doo. Yeah, man. That Gina Carano piece is awesome. Joe, you back yet? Okay, so I sent you the Circle Back Saki song again. So we're gonna play that. I'll do a quick little intro and then we'll play it. Thank you. The commercials. My guy Zach, he says tinnitus instead of tinnitus. Tinnitus just sounds funny. It's good stuff. Yeah, man, it's just I've been swamped past couple of days. I think I'll probably be more available tomorrow if you are, or we can link up over the weekend, man. Doesn't matter, whenever. Oh yeah, they did. They sure did. Oh, the program is mandatory. I thought you were just choosing to do that. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. And just so you all know, like, I'm not logged into YouTube. So when I occasionally log into YouTube to look at the comments and stuff like that, that's when I notice that YouTube is like censoring a bunch of them. But I'm not there every second of the stream. Yeah, I've got it too. It used to be worse. But tinnitus. It just sounds so funny. It sounds so good. Oh. I got to print something today. What am I going to print? I haven't found a good model to print. In other words, you have no elevator. Well, take advantage of it. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. Also covering for Pat on News Talk 1190 WOWO, 107.5 FM. I want to thank R&B Car Company. If you're looking for a used vehicle, go to rbcarcompany.com. Well, the Border Patrol has released some new data on the migrant surge at the southern border. And let's just say it shatters a bunch of talking points from the White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, who's affectionately referred to as Circle Back Psaki on this show. And since we're talking about Circle Back Psaki, Joe, we've got to play the song. Roll it.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I often note I'm going to circle back. I hate to disappoint conservative Twitter, but I am going to circle back on a number of things, as we often do directly. I'll circle back, circle back. I hate to disappoint you. Circle back, that's an excellent question. Circle back, I hate to disappoint you, but we will venture to circle back. What do you think? This is such a good question. I have not had the opportunity to dig into that. I'll circle back.
It was a massive dump. To this day, everyone's trying to figure out where did it come from.
I'm not aware of anything, but we'll circle back.
Uncircumcised Philistine, who do you think he is?
As a mom myself, I want to know all the details. I have to circle back.
Come on, man. You know what I mean?
I will venture to get you an answer on that, and maybe we can talk about it, and you'll circle back. I will have to circle back on that one. Circle back. But we'll circle back. But I will have to circle back with you. Circle back. Let me give you a very specific example. I'll circle back. I hate to disappoint you. Circle back. That's an excellent question. Circle back. I hate to disappoint you, but we will venture to circle back.
This president knew back in January. Why did did he tell us? Why did he warn us?
There are a number of ways to combat misinformation. One of them is circle back.
You told us that Trump was invincible and Hillary was in the prison, right?
I don't really have any predictions for you on that. I can circle back. Let me see if I can get more detail for you on that. Circle back.
I signed something saying that if I'm wrong, I can go to prison. Did you?
I'll try to get to as many questions as possible. I don't have anything more for you. And that communication has been lacking. Well, as you know, let me give you a very specific example. I'll circle back. Circle back. I hate to disappoint you. Circle back. Circle back. That's an excellent question. Circle back. Circle back. I hate to disappoint you.
Yeah, there we go. Circle back Psaki with Circle Back. That's her first big hit release, by the way. We love it. We think she's got some talent. She's terrible at being a press secretary, but she can rap. So anyway, the Border Patrol has released the data. Now, if you circle back to what Jen Psaki was saying a couple of months ago as press secretary, the surge we're having at the border right now is perfectly normal, happens all the time. There's not more people at the border right now than there was in the past. In fact, this surge isn't even that big. It's so small. Well, Border Patrol released their data. Kind of destroys that narrative. This is the largest surge to the border ever. And I mean ever. At all. Period. Let me go ahead and address a couple of other things here that maybe you haven't thought of. The peak number of minors, I should say, minors, not people, but minors. The peak number of minors that was detained under President Trump was 2,600. Currently, Biden has 18,000 minors in cages. 18,000 of them. The cages that he and Obama built, by the way. Peak number under Trump, 2,600. Currently, under Biden, 18,000. I know, it's Thursday, and you need an excuse to not register that number. The highest number of migrant kids detained by Trump, 2,600. Currently, Biden is detaining over 18,000. Get it? Where's the media coverage? Where's the white pantsuit crazy bartender lady? Where's all of the charades? Where is all of that? Huh? Oh, it's not there. When Ted Cruz tries to go and actually film what's happening, oh, we need to respect these people. They're human beings. This isn't a zoo. Oh, that is not how you felt about them just a couple of years ago, when you sent a bunch of liberal Democrat politicians down to the border to go ahead and take a bunch of video and pictures, and then you lied about it. Then you straight up lied about it, making up stories about drinking out of toilet bowls and not having any water or drinks or anything of that nature. Just very interesting stuff was happening a couple of years ago, right, when the Democrats were down there. But 18,000 minors right now detained by Joe Biden. Friendly reminder, and we have multiple illegal immigrants on both sides of the border saying the only reason they're doing this right now is because, I'm going to quote one of them, okay? I don't want to give you a platitude. I want to quote one of the people who has come across the border illegally and brought a bunch of people with him. Joe Biden invited us. I'm going to say that again. Joe Biden invited us. Now, if you go to my YouTube or my Rumble at Casey the host, I do the loony liberal montages where I just slice together a bunch of stupid stuff that liberals say in the news media and politicians and things like that. When I had a part of that montage, I think it was montage number 2, where there's a bunch of instances of Biden basically inviting illegal aliens to the border. It might have been montage 3. I think it was 2. Inviting them all throughout the campaign as the usurper in the White House, all of that stuff. You know, another thing that Biden did that is causing this to be our problem and not Mexico's problem is that he got rid of the stay in Mexico and wait provision. Got rid of that. So this is nasty stuff. The Border Patrol New numbers from the Border Patrol show just how bad things have gotten at the southern border under Biden's leadership, if you can even call it that, they say. Not even the Washington Post fact-checker Glenn Kessler can ignore the data. Now, Glenn Kessler is tweeting this stuff out. Glenn Kessler is a massive liberal, and he is routinely incorrect in his fact checks. So he tweets out the data from the Border Patrol. Well, I guess the Biden White House line that this is the usual annual migration surge at the border is no longer operative. Mm-hmm. You look at the data, and I realize that those of you who are on the live stream can see this, but those of you in the radio audience cannot. That blue line, for those of you who are there, this blue line right here, that is the current surge. The other lines are the previous surges that we've had. And this blue line is way above everything else. It's not even remotely close. Not even close. Now, you can get this at cbp.gov. This is in the Border Patrol. I'll have it in the Daily Show Prep today at theburningtruth.us. So if you go to my website and you sign up for my newsletter for free, you get the Daily Show Prep. I'll have a link to this in the Daily Show Prep. So you can take a look at it as well. This is not a normal migrant surge. This is not a normal surge at all. The peak number of minors that were detained under the Trump administration was 2,600, which they managed very well because they had that facility with the classrooms and the video game rooms and the beds and all of that stuff. So 2,600 under Trump, that was the peak. It's 18,000 for Biden right now. More coming up. 95.3 MNC and Newstalk 1190 WOA 107.5 FM. Well, that's what that leaked memo shows. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Yo! NHQ after the 30-second commercial after the weather. Got it. Got to do a commercial here in a second. Hold on. Oh, man. Goose. I owe you a picture, dude. We'll see. Oh, man. That felt good. Did weather already happen? Oh, this is the 30-second one? Okay. Mouth pucker. Hey everybody, Casey Hendrickson here for Nutrition HQ. No joke, I came down, I was really dragging today. Today was just not a day that I had a ton of energy to do the show. And so what I did is I popped a Virilitat. That's right, I took one of those Virilitats. Now, men, over the age of 35, your testosterone levels start to drop off. This is not good for your overall health. It's more than just your muscle mass and the amount of fat that your body can retain. It's also just your overall health, your vitality. But if you take a Virilitat, it stimulates your body, tells your body basically to produce more of its natural testosterone. So you'll have testosterone levels like you had when you were younger. Now that is good for your overall health. It's good for your energy levels, that vitality that I mentioned earlier. But also it makes it a little bit easier for you to build and maintain muscle mass, and it makes it easier for you to burn fat. Virilitat is the foundation of your program. I also get asked what other stuff that I take. Men and women, TB16. TB16, phenomenal product. Tastes great. You can put it in a very small amount of water and drink it really easily. This has a thermogenic fat burner in it. It has an appetite suppressant in it. It also helps prevent bloating and water retention, and creme de la creme, the mood enhancer, because some of you all have an attitude adjustment that is desperately needed. TB16 for men and women, Nutrition HQ. Mention me, get 10% off when you sign up for their free rewards program, 5804 Grape Road in Mishawaka. Take care, Denside. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Yeah, it was the FCC tip line. No kidding. That one was from memory, but yeah. That's what weed is for. I had their cafe latte protein last night. My new frother mixes my protein so much better. So good. I picked up one of those like mini coffee frothers that has the cup though, so you can do it for protein and other drinks, and it has a little lid on it and all that. Man, that was such a good buy. That was a good choice. So protein gets mixed perfectly, gets a nice little whip and froth texture to it, and it just makes it taste so much better in my opinion. Cream of wheat, vile, gross, hate cream of wheat. Oh, I know exactly where your box is. But it is boxed. I can show it to you. But it's boxed. I forgot it the past couple of days. Went to take it with me today and left it downstairs. And good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel. I am your host, Casey Hendrickson. Also covering for Pat Miller today on News Talk 95, News Talk 1190, 107.5 FM. My apologies. Okay. I have told you for a number of years now how China and the Chinese Communist Party pay off American reporters, journalists, anchors, and things like that, including newspapers. You know, the China Daily, they get paid a lot of money to carry the China Daily at the New York Times, the Washington Post, and everywhere else that carries the Chinese Communist Party propaganda pamphlet inside their publication. This is a real problem. A lot of Americans don't understand what the Chinese Communist Party does and how they promote themselves around the world. They quite literally buy news media in other countries. Think of it like espionage. You've got an American. That American wants to make more money. Now that American, in espionage, that American has access to something that a foreign agent needs access to, usually blueprints, data, whatever, right? So they do what they can to go ahead and win that person over so that person spies for them. And oftentimes that involves blackmail, which China does, right? Remember Fang Fang and her front bum and Representative Swalwell, the Chinese spy that Swalwell's having was having a relationship with. They do that. So they blackmail people. They use their spies to have relationships with people. This is, again, common in espionage. Another way that they do this, they just find people that are unhappy with their financial situation. They offer them a bunch of money. This is how China usually gets some of the people at higher academia, the university level. They find these researchers or these professors and they go, hey, you know what? You're making pretty good money, but how'd you like to double it? And all you have to do is just forward us the documents that you're working on. And we talked about one of those people. I think it was at Harvard. Don't quote me on that, but one of those people who China approached and they said, hey, we just want to make a more efficient electric car. And you guys have battery technology that we could use to make a more efficient electric vehicle. We just want to save the planet. And we're going to pay you a lot of money just to get that stuff for us. And I know it seems like we're stealing that technology, but, you know, we're just trying to make the world a better place. So if you can get us that clean battery technology, that would be fantastic. And they paid him a lot of money. And what did the professor do? He got them the clean battery technology. Guess where they put it? Not in electric cars. They put it in submarines. He didn't know that. They appealed to his philanthropic ideals. He shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't have trusted them. But this is just kind of how it works. But he got paid a ton of money. Now, another thing that they do is they invite members of the American media to go to China. And they have these programs where China, and I'm not making this up, I've gone over this in great detail before. I've explained what the program is and why the intelligence community sees this as a huge national security threat. They will train American members of the media in how to report on China. True story. And they pay them money. So not only are you getting Chinese Communist Party vacations, trips to China, you're getting parties. I assume that they are putting attractive Chinese agents in your bed to blackmail the ones that are married, just in case. You're getting paid extra money for this. You're getting some training. And they said all these dinner parties and contacts and all that stuff. And then they send you back to the United States, where every single thing you write about China is praising China, and everything that you respond to about China is defending China. This is very commonplace. This is how the Chinese Communist Party manipulates media, not just in the U.S., but in Europe and especially in Africa. At least 2 journalists who worked for the Chinese state-controlled media came to the United States as visiting students and became organizers for a progressive activist group behind the Stop AAPI hate movement, running outreach efforts to shape the political opinions of first-generation Chinese-American immigrants in California. Essentially, one of the big groups right now that is pushing the false narrative that it is Trump-supporting white supremacists that are committing hate crimes against Asian Americans, which is not true at all. The overwhelming majority of hate crimes committed against Asians comes from black men. Very few whites commit hate crimes against Asians. It does happen, but it happens at the exact same rate. Actually, total violent crimes from whites against Asians is the exact same percentage rate as violent crime from Asians against other Asians. And they're one of the least likely groups to commit violence on each other. So, the Chinese Communist Party is running the anti-Asian hate crimes groups in the United States. Kind of like the Chinese Communist Party was running the entire campaign to get us to not call it the Wuhan coronavirus or the Chinese coronavirus. You're all victims of the Chinese Communist Party and their propaganda. Congratulations. More coming up. 95.3 MNC and, of course, 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM. No, Mom, it's all packed up. I tried to set it up to where I could get it from home, but it was going to be too expensive with my account, so I actually have to take it into the store, and I've got to use FedEx or UPS to send it. Yeah, CCP virus is the best name. The best name. China. We talked with Hayward from Breitbart about this, too, earlier in the week. Chop Fluey. God, that's such a good one. Chop Fluey is so good. Sweet and sour sicken. Yeah, that's what I figured it would end up being. I tried to, even with my account, it's just, you know, the post office, once you get over a certain size, I had to use a much bigger box because you left, you know, an entire suitcase of stuff here. But I had to go with a much bigger box, and that's what negated everything. Had it been in the other box, it would have been fine, but it won't even remotely come close to fitting. So, and hopefully that peacock thing will make it. Wrapped them all really good, so. Yep. Once you get to, like, you know, you can get up to a foot, but it becomes the height at that point. Once you get, you know, like a foot and over 3 or 4 inches, like, it's not even worth talking to the post office. But I tried. I was hoping that it would work even with my account, but it didn't. Too expensive. Might as well send it to Canada. Take care, Mark. It's already boxed up. I got the shoes and all of the wall art and all of that stuff in there. So it's just that I was running behind today and I left it downstairs and I walked out. Is Facebook down? Yeah, it is. Whoa. Did they get attacked? Is this another cyber attack on Facebook releasing everybody's data? He might be doing an internet radio station. I don't know. Is he buying an actual radio station? Oh, Burroughs. Jesus. Talk to Fang about that one. I think she has some expertise. I haven't seen anything. I'm looking right now. I haven't seen anything about Lindell doing a radio station. Oh, wait. Oh, no, that's a different dude. There's a guy in Port Huron, Michigan that was in the news this week having a fake radio station. He broadcasted from a boat. It says True Pirate Radio. Look at this story. This is awesome. True Pirate Radio. Did you all see the Project Veritas video about Babylon Bee today? It was funny. It was good. If you haven't seen it, go look for it. No, you're not the only one. I don't know. I don't know necessarily that I would call him a fraud per se, but he's eccentric, and a lot of his claims are just not verifiably true. But he does make a good pillow. Darren's got a point. You know, I've heard very good things about the pillow. Now, with that said, you know, if he creates some kind of a social media where you could, you know, that's popular and you can get traction on it and be left alone, whatever, I'll go with it. Yeah, he is totally riding the media wave. But here's the thing. I think he's a true believer who's kind of gone off the deep end because he's lost like $60 million. I mean, he's lost a lot of money. His pillow distribution is like down, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens to him. Everybody I know with a MyPillow loves it, though. Everybody. Yeah, use them too. Reach.gov. Oh, there's that one dentist, the one dentist who doesn't like the product. There's Tom. Tom, who doesn't even level his 3D printer bed. Good Lord. Yeah, I've never used one, but I know a lot of people that have them and they do enjoy them. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't be super sad if Mike Lindell just opened up an internet radio station and just talked for 24 hours straight. That would be entertaining stuff. Mama doesn't like it either. So Tom, who doesn't level his print bed on his 3D printer, and Mama, who doesn't own a 3D printer, don't like the MyPillow. I'm seeing a trend here. Mm-hmm. That's what she said. Oh, CNN would totally go nuts. They would have a whole show. Mike Lindell says. Well, I finally have some good news. Took a while to get it, but we finally got some good news yesterday. Didn't get an opportunity to talk about it on the show. Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. Casey Hendrickson here, also covering for Pat Miller on 1190 WOWO, 107.5 FM in Fort Wayne. The hate crime against that 65-year-old Asian woman in New York that was captured on the surveillance footage that we talked about a couple of days ago. And for those of you who are on the live stream, you watched the video. And if you're not real familiar with the story, 65-year-old Asian lady's walking down the sidewalk in New York City, and fairly large black guy comes out of nowhere, Spartan kicks her in the chest, knocks her down, and proceeds to stomp on her head. Now, as horrific as that is, it gets worse. Now, the camera's inside the lobby of this building, and it is filming outwards through the front glass panes of the door and the window at the front of this building. Well, as this man is stomping on this woman's head, there is a delivery driver who looks to be larger than the attacker, who is looking out and watching her get attacked. Does nothing. 2 security personnel from inside the building come out. They look out. They're watching this guy attack this 65-year-old Asian woman. And they close the door and do nothing. Now, they were immediately suspended. The delivery company was looking into the delivery driver, who also did not intervene. Now, there's a couple of different things that have been brought up in the discussion of this. One, in society today, you're not allowed to intervene if you work for a place. If you intervene, you can get fired and that sort of stuff. We frequently do stories on that. I still like referencing the situation in the Walmart parking lot that happened a couple of years ago because, that's a situation where the man literally saved the woman's life. She was going to be stabbed to death. He intervened, saved her life. Walmart fired him. Why? Because he intervened in the parking lot. I think he was on his lunch break or something like that. He saved this woman's life, still gets canned. So there's a lot of folks that have now been scared out of even trying to help. Because if they do help, they could lose their job and their livelihood. But then there's just the I'm not a horrible person mentality. I'm not going to let a 65-year-old woman or anybody really sit there and let somebody stomp on their head. And I'm going to intervene. There's 3 large men. 3 large men could have intervened and helped this woman out. They chose not to. According to reports, the 2 doormen in Manhattan who were caught on security footage failing to intervene when the elderly Asian woman was brutally assaulted outside of their building have officially been fired. They were caught on video doing nothing while the 65-year-old Asian American woman was brutally attacked on her way to church, having been fired. Their building's management company confirmed all of this Tuesday to NBC New York. So, some justice, ladies and gentlemen, some justice. And, like I said, I can appreciate that if I intervene, I'm going to lose my job. Okay. You know what? I would rather be that guy. And if we live in a society where if you do the right thing, we have options with GoFundMe and everything else. We can get you support if you desperately need it. And I think that we're at a point now where people need to deprogram themselves from failing to intervene to help people, because it's getting completely epidemic. But this all starts in school. Your kid goes to school, preschool, kindergarten. What do they tell them? Don't fight back. Don't defend yourself. Run away, which of course will get you killed in the real world. That stuff has to be deprogrammed out of our children. We got more coming up. 95.3 MNC and 1190 WOWO, 107.5 FM. Doop, 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 doop. Well, Instagram's owned by Facebook, so they're down. So there must be something happening over there. Well, and Gab has their own servers. Gab has been a lot more stable over the past couple of weeks, too, by the way. Well, I mean, who knows? YouTube just purged a bunch of people. Take everything down, and then all of a sudden, when you come back online, everybody's gone. We don't know what happened. You get a ticket from work over Facebook? Like you're not doing your job ticket? They do that crap with adults? That's some grammar school stuff. At a college? Oh my God. Here's your ticket. Oh my God. You caught me on Facebook. That's lame. That's crazy. I guess like in my kids' class, like they can get tickets, but they're like good tickets. And then they can trade in the tickets to get prizes. So that's crazy. Oh. I'm also enjoying from afar. I'm just watching the Nevada Democratic Party just completely destroy itself, and it's a good time. I enjoy it. I wouldn't be shocked by the college either. What, they don't want you getting Facebook propaganda? Facebook's on their side, though. Yeah, next time they hand you a ticket, like, how many tickets before I can trade it in for like a bubble tea? I want a bubble tea. Give me a bubble tea. Can I trade in like 3 of these Facebook tickets for bubble tea? That'd be great. Good Lord. All right, let me ask, does this sound familiar to you? Trump doesn't really want to be president. Okay, Trump really does want to be president, but he only wants to be president because he's going to use the office to enrich himself. Remember those lines? Now, we track Trump's net worth like throughout his entire presidency on this show, but there's a new report that has come out. Friendly reminder to everybody out there. Trump didn't take a paycheck. He donated his presidential salary. Now, whether you like the man's policies or not, even though a lot of his policies are traditional Democrat policies and pro-labor policies, whether you like the man or not, any normal person who's not a feral dredge on society would respect somebody that donated their entire salary back to the people. He didn't even want to take the salary. He wanted it to go back into the general fund. And Democrats threw a hissy fit and threatened to impeach him over it. Remember that? He was first coming into office. He said, I don't want the salary. Just put it in the general fund. I don't need it. And the Democrats called it an impeachable offense. So before he was even sworn in, they were going to impeach him because he wasn't taking money from the taxpayer for doing the job that he had been hired to do. So then he said, just pay me $1 then. And then they threatened to impeach him over that. Because, again, impeachment started before he was actually sworn in. So then what he ultimately decided to do is take the full salary but donate it. And that's what he did. Every time he got paid, he donated his salary. And it went to various places. We tried to do a running tally on where that money was going. And it's amazing how many liberal sweetheart bureaucracies got his money, too. Well, a new report is out that Trump lost more than $1.1 billion. More than $1.1 billion in net worth by being president. That is a man, whether you liked his policies or not, who sacrificed over $1 billion because he wanted to do the right thing. Just think about that for a second. And how exactly no other politicians in Washington, D.C. or elsewhere at any capitals would be willing to do that very same thing. But this is what happens when you demonize somebody, when you fabricate nonsense stories about somebody in order to dehumanize them. That's what happens. Bill O'Reilly's up next. Have a wonderful night. Buy a 3D printer. All righty. Put that in the show prep. What up? All right. Guess I'm ready whenever you are. Casey Hendrickson here. Major airlines and their plan to get you dead. We'll talk about that and more Friday, 3 to 6 on 95.3 MNC. All right, homie. Take care. Okay, disconnected. We got the same old bullshit arguing again. Just everybody stop. Just don't even talk to each other. If you guys don't get along, just don't even talk to each other. It's just, I'm getting tired. Like, I was already in a real pissy mood when I woke up today, and this stuff like came out of left field. I don't want to deal with it anymore. I really don't. I just don't. So let's make it stop now, please. Yeah, here's the thing though. Here's the thing though, Val. I have tracked this stuff for a long time, and a lot of people who blame Alex are the ones who instigate. I'm not saying you. I don't know what happened with you today, but I'm just saying. It is a lot of times, it is not him, and he gets blamed for it. And the thing is that we're literally dealing with like 4 people out of a server of over 300, and it's driving me nuts because, you know, I will see it repeatedly, and then I'll go back and I'll get screenshots and things like that, and it's him not addressing anybody, and then somebody poking at him. And then sometimes, as I've said before, sometimes the admins can go a little too far, which is why I've told everybody, if you're on the Discord server or if you have an issue, come to me or one of the other admins. We'll address it. You know, document everything, screenshot it. If the admin was wrong, we'll deal with it on our end. But nobody has done that. If you guys don't like each other, don't talk to each other. That's all. That's all. That's all you got to do. You know, just avoid the drama. It's the same, like 4 people all the time. So just, if I got to be the asshole parent, I will. I don't want to be, because really what it is just people who have strong personalities disagreeing with each other, but also there's a little bit of the intentional poking at people. Just enough. Just let it go. It's like exactly what you tell, 2 and 3-year-old kids. If they're poking and prodding at you, just walk away. Right? Just, that's it. It's so dumb and so petty, and I'm sorry, but a lot of the pettiness comes from some of the older people on the damn stream. Just stop. That's it. And if somebody is instigating with you and you feel like I'm wrong on it, document it and send it to me and I'll handle it. But I can't handle it if you don't send me stuff. And I've asked repeatedly, if you're being bothered, if somebody is targeting you, send me proof. We'll deal with it as a whole group of the admins. And that has not happened one time. But I have seen other times, and I'm not talking about anything specific for today, but I have seen on other times where he's minding his own business and out of left field, somebody comes after him. I've seen that happen. He has a strong personality. I get that. A lot of you have strong personalities. I get that. It's cool. Y'all don't like each other. That's fine. Let's just stop. So I'm now saying it to everybody. If you don't like each other, don't comment on each other. Don't talk to each other. Just leave it alone. That's it. There's plenty of other people here to engage with. And if there's a serious problem that needs to be dealt with, come to me directly. Come to one of the other admins. I don't know if the permissions are taken care of yet, but I'm putting together the channel that has all of the admins listed in there. I'm going to pull one of those admins off because Tracy said that she's really not able to do it anymore. So I just pulled Tracy off. But I've got a list there. It's the admin list, which is in the Horde chat area. And the permissions were messed up earlier today. So I'll check it and see if that's fixed. If it's not fixed, we'll make sure that it's fixed. But that has everybody you can reach out to. So if you feel like you're having an issue with an admin, contact one of the other admins or me directly, and we can take a look at it. But if you got screenshots, I mean, that would really help too, because then we can do that. There's a lot of strong-willed personalities here. And, you know, I get that some people don't like the way that other people conduct themselves, and that's fine. But, you know, just let it go. I mean, it isn't that hard. It really isn't. You know, this is the argument that I have with my 8-year-old, my 4-year-old all the time. Just stop doing it, girls. She started it. I don't give a shit. Stop. Don't care. I really don't care. Sell you on Virilitat. Virilitat will instantly make you more attractive to the opposite sex. Wait, that's not a selling point. That is the opposite of a selling point. Okay, so it's hard to truly sell you on it. So for me, when I'm not dieting and I'm gaining weight and I go back onto Virilitat, I instantly lose a few pounds and then I just stabilize. So even if I'm not dieting, Virilitat seems to stabilize my weight. My energy levels, not my mood, but my energy levels are way better. And when you're working out, you'll notice that your strength comes quite a bit faster. You know how when you first start working out, you're kind of weak and then you get stronger and stronger and stronger. That really helps with that. It's just overall, I mean, your testosterone level should be higher. You know, if you feel like you don't have an issue with energy levels and things like that, you don't have to worry about it, dude. You can always get a protein. Yeah, they got protein, they got healthy snacks, they got the clean eats meals, which are fantastic. They're, you know, for like right around $5-6. It's cheaper than fast food. It's really healthy stuff. Highly recommend it. So it's it's just a good product that I've used for a long time that I've had great success with. If it's not for you, not for you. I'm also not the expert. All I can do is give you my personal experience with it. But if you go talk with Sean over at NHQ, he'll be able to walk you through like some of the benefits and stuff like that. For me, one of the best ways to address if a product is good or not is how many people go back and buy it again. Tons of people buy it again. So I have fairly good genetics in that I can lose weight really quick when I actually put in the effort. And Virilitat seems to accelerate that for me. So Virilitat, all right, Tom. So Virilitat basically it has ingredients that help stimulate testosterone production. So there are certain vitamins and minerals that you can take that your body will then convert and things happen in your body, right? So it just basically has those ingredients that stimulate your body to produce more testosterone naturally, as opposed to artificially injecting testosterone. So much healthier, safer, that sort of thing. Well, and honestly, the people to talk to are the guys at Nutrition HQ. They're the ones that are going to be able to help you out there. You know, they've got a pharmacy tech that's on staff. You've got Sean, extremely knowledgeable. Jeremy, when he's there, and he's been, you know, he was the manager. He owns it now, but he was the manager forever. Wealth of knowledge. Used to be my workout buddy back in the day when I was healthy. But they're going to be able to sell it to you better than I do. All I can do is kind of give you my personal experiences. And for me, it's been very beneficial. Like I said, I was dragging, and then I popped a Virilitat earlier. I don't take them for energy, but just they, you know, when you have more testosterone, you have more energy. It's just how it is. Yeah, Tim had great results with NHQ also, but Tim did not take the testosterone boosting stuff because Tim was young. But Tim, Tim had a ton of success. See, the problem is that I don't really look all that great right now. So some of the success that I've had on Nutrition HQ, I don't really advertise it anymore because it doesn't sell well right now. Just because of my COVID weight. But you'll notice when I get back into the gym regularly that I'll drop real quick. And the products that I'll be taking, usually a fat burner or protein and then Virilitat. That's usually what I'm on. And everybody's physiology is different, you know. That's the thing. For me, if I get rid of carbs and sugar, I'm good to go. Like, I feel a ton better. So, looking to do carnivore tomorrow and that sort of thing. Just go slow, man. Just go slow. You know, one of the big problems is people go back to the gym, and I'm guilty of this. They go back to the gym and they overwork, and then they're sore for a damn week, and then they never want to go back again. They don't. So just go super light. Just ease yourself into it, and that'll make it a lot easier. So I've got a program that I'm hoping to start next week that should help with my shoulder. So I went back to, because I'm a member of Fit Stop now. So I went back to the gym a couple of weeks ago, got through a nice light workout, felt pretty good, but my shoulder, which is still recovering from that tear, was killing me. So I have to do some stuff that kind of stay away from that. So I've got to do some different things to kind of strengthen it up and hopefully help. But that's the only reason I'm not going more. I was hoping to go a couple of times a week at least to the actual gym as opposed to doing stuff here in the house, which is sometimes hard to do. Yeah, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with being fit. I mean, geez, you know. See, with me, like if I drop 20, because I'm already down from where I was at, but if I drop 20, it's dramatic. Like it is, for me, 20 pounds is very, very dramatic from the weight that I'm at now going down 20. And my face and my neck, and it just shrivels up. If I go down 30, then I'll be doing real good. So if you take Virilitat, you can take it once or twice a day. So 60 is generally considered a 30-day cycle. And what I do is I do a bottle. I do a bottle for that month. Sometimes I'll do it for 2 months and just take one a day. It just kind of depends on how things work out for me. And then I cycle off of it for a month, and then I come back on it. That's just what I do. You should cycle off of your supplements and come back on them anyways, particularly anything with testosterone. Yeah, man, you get under 200 pounds, you'll be good. You can do that. And look, I'm sorry about, the outburst earlier, but this, I'm sitting here and I'm watching the same old friggin' arguments all the time, and I don't want to see them anymore. I'm done with them. I don't care who's at fault. I don't care who's at blame. I'm done with them. I don't want to see them anymore. So I'm a little irritated with it. And some of the people who are claiming that it's somebody else, I've watched them instigate. Some of the others I haven't seen who instigated. But, and honestly, when I look at it, most of the time, like when I'm looking at the arguing, oftentimes I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it, and it's just people misinterpreting something that was posted. And I'll try and come in, no, that's not what they're saying. They're doing this. And it just doesn't, it just goes in one ear and out the other. Just doesn't mean anything to anybody. And then I get extra irritated with it. So, I'm trying to have a community for everybody to be able to do some stuff, and it's already a struggle enough as it is because we can't be on a video platform that we want to be on and not be harassed and everything else. So yeah, Nutrition HQ is just mention me, man. You'll get 10% off. You got to sign up for their free rewards program, but you'll always have my discount attached to that account. So just mention me. Yeah, dude, middle age does suck. Everything's broke. Everything is broke. And if it's not broke, it will be broke tomorrow. Like, this is the funniest thing for me. So, like, I hurt my shoulder, right? And it was no joke when I was asleep. How the hell do you tear a friggin' shoulder sleeping? How does that happen? It happens when you go over 40. When you go over 40, you tear crap when you're asleep. So, it's a mess. All right, what did it say? Thursday? April 8th. Nah, man, it isn't. Dude, it's a pain in the butt, figuratively and literally. It's become like a meme now, like all the weird crap that happens to you like after you turn 30 and then after you turn 40, just all the extra stuff that's like, oh, I'm good. Okay, this is going to hurt today. All right, cool. And it is. It's like this rotation of pain that you get the older you get. Today, this is going to be the thing that bothers me. Then it's going to be the thing that bothers me on that day. You know, it's so irritating. Oh, God, throwing the back and my neck. And I've talked about my neck a lot. But, yeah, doing that stuff all the time. All the time. That lotion has been my CBD lotion has been a godsend for my neck. Yeah, it is. It's a rotation of pain. You know, today, the left side of my body is going to hurt. Tomorrow, my neck. The next day, the right side. It's so dumb. It's true. It does build character. Yeah, you know, not running I never liked running, and I didn't get good at it until I was in the Army. I was always fast. I was a burst runner because I played football. But distance running was just not my thing. But I did get good at it in the military, and I couldn't do it at all. No, I just couldn't. It's not good for you anyway, but yeah. Yeah, man, seriously, everybody posting about the lotion. That lotion is seriously good stuff. At that price point, I'm not aware of anything that's better. Well, my knee, particularly my left knee gives me problems. That's a perpetual issue. I've got like a misaligned hip that I was born with, apparently. I just found out today because my feet always hurt. And my feet, instead of being flat, like I walk like this, and ended up had them adjust my ankles today at the chiropractor. And we were able to trace it back to when I had that really bad ankle injury long time ago where I tore the tendons in my ankle. And my foot now, because of that, walks different. So, yay. Isn't that fun? Look, Val, I mean, I get it. And obviously, you know, I don't dislike any of you. And, you know, I want that to be clear too. I don't dislike anybody. But, you know, if there's something happening that is bothering you, you know, please send it to somebody. I don't know if you're on Discord or not, you know, but we can handle it. And, you know, there are people that just don't get along with other people. They don't. And if that's an issue, then all right, well, just, you know, we'll just have everybody stay away from each other, and then we'll do that. I've set it up to where I'm taking a more active role in Discord today. You know, because there's really been one guy that kind of runs the server all the time, and he's probably getting a little burned out. It's not fair that he has to do that. He's not getting paid to do this. He volunteered to do it. And some of the people that he brought on to do the job, to help him with it, haven't helped him with it. And, you know, I'm sure that there's a little bit of that. So I'm taking over some of that stuff, and we'll probably be looking to add 1 or 2 people to the admin team since we got rid of a couple of people on the admin team here recently. So, hopefully that helps. And then we'll just make sure that people who don't get along just kind of stay away from each other. But that's going to require everybody to stay away from each other. So we'll have a chat about it. I'll set up an admin thing or something like that where we can all talk about it. This last thing I want. And I get it. It's like there's a lot of strong personalities and people have very strong opinions about things. And oftentimes when that gets challenged, then people get upset. I get that. It's part of the nature of what we do. I would just prefer, rather than it continue to escalate, that it just stop and everybody just kind of stay away from each other. Be on the stream, but just don't engage with one another. You can keep posting, keep talking, that sort of thing, but that's just it. I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. I don't want anybody to have to deal with it. But I also don't want anybody to be oversensitive because somebody challenges their beliefs either. And there are people who like to challenge beliefs, and it's a different philosophies and everything else. I don't take it personally. And if we can get it all settled down, because like I said, it's just like the same few people don't get along, and that ends up being a thing with them. So hopefully we'll just not have to deal with it anymore. But, I feel like I have to do this. In defense of Alex, I have watched him reach out to people and try and bury the hatchet, and I've watched him try to avoid them, and I have watched those people go after him and then blame him when he responds. And that's not fair either. I'm not saying that's you, Val, but I'm saying I've seen that happen. And that's not okay. And that's the type of stuff that is obviously that's going to get under his skin, and he's going to get defensive as anybody would. And that's not fair. If you don't like somebody, fine. just don't comment on anything that they post or say. And if somebody is coming after you and you feel like they're targeting you, let me know. Let one of the moderators or the admins know. And we'll have a meeting about it, and we'll see what we can do, because I don't want that to happen to anybody. I don't want it to happen to my people. I don't want it to happen to any of your people. You people on the stream. By my people, I mean the admins and that sort of thing. It's too stressful. And it doesn't do any good. There's no sense in doing it. So, and the thing is like on Discord, we have one of the most chill and relaxed Discords. And part of that is how Alex runs it. And I don't think that people appreciate how easy our Discord server is based on the way that he runs things. But there's a lot of Discord servers you can't post a damn thing. And then there's other Discord servers where it's the Wild West and everybody attacks everybody and nobody is moderating anything. And it's chaos and toxic and that sort of thing. I cannot stress how great the admin team on Discord is. They are fantastic. And they are generally the same people that run the live stream. So, there's some personality conflicts that have to be dealt with. And the best that I can ask is that everybody just, if you don't get along, that's fine. Just don't deal with each other. And if somebody deals with you and you don't respond and then they continue to come after you, let me know. Just let me know. I'll take care of it. And that, honestly, Comet, that's the thing, dude. I don't think that a lot of people in our Discord server or on our live streams understand how easy they have it and how smooth it is. And that's because of the entire admin team. But at the head of that, particularly on Discord, is Alex. And okay. People don't like him, but he's basically built you a really nice community. I wouldn't even have the Discord server if it wasn't for him. That doesn't mean that he gets to do whatever he wants with impunity, obviously. But I think that some people are being oversensitive on some things. Some people are playing the victim when they're the instigator. And I think that sometimes he probably gets a little too high energy for people and needs to be maybe dial it back a little bit. And then other times there's just a personality conflict. You know, like I said, it happens. Personality conflicts. I've watched old beefs just because people wanted to post stuff that was against our rules on the Discord server, and he did his job and took it down, and that's just escalated into a whole other thing. And I'm tired of dealing with it. There's no reason to. You know, we don't have a toxic server, and our live streams aren't toxic, and I certainly don't want it to become that. Steve. Well, and so, you know, a lot of what he does challenge narratives because he likes to grow that way, and he wants other people. He doesn't want an echo chamber, and I appreciate that. Other people don't, and I understand that, and that's fine. So if we've got to change the way that we do things, and if we have to allow him to take a break, and like I said, I think he needs more help. And if Alex has more help from me and from other people, which I've made some steps today, then a lot of that burden is off of him, and he doesn't have to worry about it. And he can just chill out and relax and do what he does so good. So and I've watched people get mad at him for stuff that they shouldn't get mad at him for. But there's also times where I've seen him kind of poke people when clearly they were getting upset and maybe it was time to back off. But I've watched him try to bury the hatchet and apologize sometimes, and people are not receptive to it. And, you know, like I said, it's just a personality conflict. I don't know what you can do. You can't appease everybody. And he's got a strong personality, and some people have a strong personality, and I have a strong personality, and people really don't like that personality sometimes. But I try to be pretty chill on the live stream, but I just don't want to see the same four people arguing all the time. Warren, I've never heard him complain about you, ever. He generally likes things to be pretty spirited. He's gotten spirited with me before. You know, like I said, the best way for me to phrase it is there's just personality conflicts. You know, he's trying to challenge the way that people think so people grow intellectually, and a lot of people don't like the way that he does it. But a lot of those people instigate with him and then claim that he instigates with them. So Vrink just joined the server. Thank you, Vrink. Appreciate that. I think Vrink was on the server before. So it's just, you know, I don't want him to be attacked. I don't want anybody else to be attacked. I don't want misunderstandings to lead into arguments and things of that nature. Like I said, it's best that if you don't get along, just don't comment to each other and we won't have to worry about it. So if that requires, you know, making myself and other admins more available to you guys, then that's what we'll do. That's all. Then if you do need help, you don't have to worry about going to him on something. You don't hear a word. That's true. That is true. And like I said, I didn't. Here's the thing too. I'm at a disadvantage most of the time. So like on the live stream, I usually don't see what starts it and what's actually going on. So I'll see like a couple of comments during a commercial or a news break, and I'm totally lost. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know what happened. And it's just, yeah, it's just one of those things. You know, I get lost on the Discord server. I'm able to go back and kind of see what ended up instigating it. I don't always have time on the live stream. Sometimes I can do that, but on Discord I can see it, and I have, like I said, just to defend him, I have watched him with screenshots trying to bury the hatchet and reach out to people, and I have watched them literally just not care and continue to go after him. And like today, like I woke up and I have there's this post, and it's like, if you're gonna block somebody, don't continue talking trash about them. And I agree with that. If you're on the Discord server and you block somebody, don't post about them. Not hard. Not hard. So, I haven't heard the update today. What was the update on that? Uh, 100%. People 100% misinterpret a lot of what he says and think that he's attacking them, and he's not. Like I said, it's personality conflicts that escalate, and I just don't want them to escalate anymore. Yeah, have him change his name so it's not. You know, but also just, you know, with respect to Val, if Val feels like, you know, she's being targeted, I don't want her to feel that way. You know, Val shouldn't feel that way either. And whether it's intentional or not is not really the point, because that's how she feels. So that's just it, Daniel. Everybody needs to chill out. Everybody needs to relax. So what I'm doing on the Discord side of things, I can't do it on the live stream, but on the Discord side of things, I've set up notifications. So when certain things happen in certain channels, I see it. And, you know, it will hopefully allow Alex the ability to take a step back. So it doesn't always appear like, oh, it's always Alex that's doing this, or it's always Alex doing that. You know, you'll see more of me doing it and maybe some of the other admins doing it. And then you don't have to, he doesn't have the burden of being the bad guy on the server just because he's doing his job. Well, and here's, okay, so in the midst of all of this, you know, bickering and complaining and all of that stuff, in the midst of that, we hit 300 people on the Discord server, which is awesome. You know, so the Discord server continues to grow. Well-managed server. My whole team does fantastic work on there. You know, and unfortunately, you can't really celebrate 300 because everybody's fighting about it the past 2 days. It's like, stop. Yeah, it's, you know, like I said, it's strong personalities, so yeah, just stay away from each other. That's all. Indiana Senate leaders killed constitutional carry. They killed it. Yep. They killed it because they suck. Well, and like I said, I can understand why some of them probably feel like he's targeting them. I don't think that's not his goal. But I understand that, and I don't want anybody to feel that way. But like you're saying, Tom, I have watched people gang up on him and target him, and I've watched him try to bury the hatchet with them, and they're just not willing to do it. And so, you know, I can't just ignore that part either, because that's not fair. That's not fair to him. And even if he's not trying to do something, I don't want anybody to feel like they're being targeted. And sometimes people feel like they're being targeted because he disagrees with one of their points. So, again, my advice is if you don't like somebody or don't get along with them, don't comment. Try not to take things too personally. and try to have as good of a time as you can. That's all. Yeah, no. Well, and it wouldn't be a waste anyway because you'll have that reciprocity. So even if they do go to constitutional carry, you'll be there. Look, here's the thing. You know, I don't want anybody feeling uncomfortable on our Discord server. I've tried to make that as clear as possible. I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable there. I don't want to build a toxic community. I want a place that's pretty chill, is fun to be with, but is also informative. That's what I want. I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. And that includes users, that includes admin teams, and whatever I can do to make that happen, that's what I'll do. And I think it's pretty clear that some of the burden that has been on his shoulders has to be taken off his shoulders because it's not fair to him. So that's what we'll do. And then I'll be the jerk. So, which, you know, I'm comfortable with doing. I don't really care, but it inevitably happens. It happens on Facebook. It happens everywhere else where people will post stuff and I'll delete it and they'll be like, "What the hell? Thought this was free speech." I'm like, "Dude, you can't post that on my page, man. I'll get fired." No, can't do it. So. All right, anything else before I get on out of here? Because now I just want to go eat and have a drink. Maybe smoke a cigar. And here's the thing. It really isn't that big of a deal. It really isn't that big of a deal. But yeah, protect my feelings second. And that's it. Like, Val, I mean, seriously, if you have problems, come to me, come to one of the admins, you know, let us know. Let us know so we can deal with it. Because I don't want anybody to feel that way. Yeah, Tennessee just passed it. Indiana killed it because, again, the Indiana Republican Party is fake conservatives. The Indiana Republican Party. I've tried telling people that since I've been here, that it's nonsense. If you have like screenshots on stuff, Val, if something comes up, just take a screenshot. You know, if I don't think you're on Discord, but if you want to get it to me some way, please, by all means. On Trovo, I don't know if there's a way to do a... Let me get on there. Hold on a second. I don't know if there's a way to do like a private chat on Trovo. It's easier on Discord, but if you're not on Discord, that makes it tough. But let me see here. No. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to do that on Trovo, to be honest with you. All right, we'll work at it. I'll try and set up a meeting or something like that with my my team here soon, and we'll just see what can be done. You know? Like I said, I don't want people definitely gang up on him, and I don't want that to happen. And I don't want you to feel like people are ganging up on you. Don't want that to happen. So I've tried telling everybody before, you know, this is about making a fun community, relatively easy, casual community to be a part of. I don't want it to be stressful. I don't want it to be stressful on him. I don't want it to be stressful on anybody else. I don't want it to be stressful on me. I deal with enough. I'm the only guy in a house full of girls. I deal with enough. Thank you very much. I don't want to have that stress either. And also it's distracting. And if I'm trying to do the radio show, I can't be dealing with this type of stuff, you know, when I'm doing the radio show. So we'll have some discussions, some conversations about it. We'll see what we can do. And hopefully it improves, does everything better, and nobody has these issues until the next time somebody hops on, you know, because inevitably there'll be a new person that instigates stuff. That's just always how this goes. So we'll work on it, okay? We'll do our best, and if there's guidance or anything like that that anybody has, just let us know as best as you can based on whatever platform you're on, and we'll do what we can. All right. I think I'm going to bounce because I think we're pretty good. Nobody's had any additional questions for me. So there we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is, and I appreciate it, Val. I really do. I appreciate it. So like I said, we'll work it out. We'll get it all taken care of. And make it fair for everybody. All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. I will still be at home tomorrow. Won't be in the studio tomorrow. Kids are on spring break, so makes it a little bit more difficult. I could have gone in today, but I just really didn't feel like it. Really didn't feel like going in today. So y'all have a wonderful night. We'll chat at you tomorrow, and it's time to say goodbye.